them to do it now, fast, so we can get on to the Senate trial. At the heart of the impeachment probe is a July call with the president of Ukraine in which Trump pressed the leader to investigate Democrats and political rival Joe Biden as Trump was withholding aid to the country. Las Vegas Metro Police investigating 2 reports from airline pilots saying they were hit with lasers while flying over Las Vegas last night. First was above Sahara and Easter, and the second above Sahara and Nellis. At least one of the incidents is believed to be Christmas decorations shining up in the sky. Former U.S. Senator and Nevada Governor Richard Bryan is endorsing Joe Biden for president, giving the former vice president the backing of one of the biggest names in the state's Democratic circles. Bryan said that Biden brings a thoughtful, steady hand and is the Democratic Party's best chance to defeat President Trump. With the check on our weather, here's News 3's Kelly Curran.
We're looking at mostly sunny skies out there this morning. Some patchy fog, mainly outside of Las Vegas, and then increasing clouds heading into the afternoon. 58 degrees, that's the forecast high for Las Vegas. Pretty close to normal with winds light out of the northeast. Keep listening for more updates throughout the day from News 3, your weather authority.
Mostly sunny, 50 in Las Vegas. I'm John Schaefer on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, Las Vegas' only FM news talk station. With a look at the roads, here's John Michaels in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Cox Business. Slowing for a crash reported I-15. Southbound at Tropicana, vehicles off to the right. The slowing pattern I-15, it's starting to ease up and look a little bit better, a little more user-friendly. It's still extensive from Lake Mead Boulevard all the way to Flamingo, but the traffic volume is easing up a little bit. It's a little bit lighter. And 95 northbound, slowing in the East Valley still from Sunset up to the Spaghetti Bowl, and slowing on the 215 out of the Durango Curve to Decatur. Cox Business has reliable internet and voice solutions. Ask how you can get up to a $200 Cox Business Visa prepaid card when you switch. Call 1-800-297-2610 today. Card issued by MetaBank, member FDIC. Terms and expiration apply. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
This holiday season, get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
I'm Jim Snyder.
And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
You can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
News 3 live at 11 with Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera, leading the way in Las Vegas.
Join Coach Harvey Hyde and Chuck Hayes Saturday evenings from 9 to 10 p.m. for Trojan Football Report, presented by South Point Hotel and Casino, here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN, where Las Vegas comes to talk.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet and our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pod sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
From office parties to family get-togethers, if you tend to overdrink, the holidays aren't always the most wonderful time of the year. But quitting completely? Well, that's just not realistic. Sound familiar? Meet LifeBack, a modern science-based approach that allows you to effectively cut back on your alcohol consumption, using medication that's clinically proven to reduce the urge to overdrink in 92% of people. LifeBack makes drinking a choice rather than a need. Plus, LifeBack is completely private with online doctor consults, medication delivered discreetly to your doorstep, and coaching and support tools through the app. LifeBack comes with a free online doctor consultation and 30-day money-back guarantee, and the program costs less than 1 drink per day. Don't wait for end-of-the-year regrets. Starting the physician-approved LifeBack program now will allow you to drink normally during the holiday season and go into the new year healthier and happier. Visit lifebac.com or call 888-959-8858 today to learn more. That's lifebac.com or call 888-959-8858 today.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This station is conducting a weekly test of the Southern Nevada, Inyo County, California Operational Area Emergency Alert System. This is only a test.
.720 on the AM, 1015 FM. Yeah, now on FM. The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Vegas? It is the Vegas Take on a Thursday morning. Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. It's a bright and sunny day out there. You got to be happy, right? It's a bright, sunny day in Vegas in December. God, I just can't believe it. Christmas right around the corner. President Trump getting impeached might be around the corner, too. I'll explain that in a couple seconds, but this is going to be a lot of fun. Coming up on the show, we got some great guests. You heard him right before our show. You hear him hopefully before our show every day, and of course, he's a co-host of Fox and Friends on Fox News. He's got a new book out called Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers. Brian Kilmeade himself will be joining us in hour number 2. Boy, do I have a lot of questions for him. Brian Kilmeade coming up, hour number 2. It's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, it is the weekly segment that we do, Dirty Dining, as we call it, where the places where you do not want to enter and eat food. Darcy Spears from ABC 13 will be joining us, talking a little bit about that. And another radio host pulling a Rush Limbaugh, making a racist comment about an NFL quarterback. You're not going to believe what this guy had to say. We will get into that in hour number 3 as well. But, of course, we are following the breaking news. And, of course, the breaking news involved Nancy Pelosi. This is Nancy Pelosi, in her own words, talking about articles of impeachment today, just a short time ago.
Sadly, but with confidence and humility, with allegiance to our founders and a heart full of love for America, today I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
So that's what she announced a short time ago. This is not a surprise. Look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. There are people way on the right that say the president's phone call was perfect and he's done absolutely nothing wrong. And then there are extreme people on the left that want this guy in jail, not just impeached. And then there's people in the middle, both on the right and the left, that can all agree that the president of the United States, certainly what he did was not a perfect phone call. It was completely inappropriate. You should never be talking about American politicians and, withholding foreign aid. Completely inappropriate beneath the presidency. At the very least, people could agree on that, but they just won't agree whether this is an impeachable offense or not, and that's fine. That's a legitimate discussion. But like I said, there's people that are right-wing Looney Tunes that think the president's call was perfect, and then there's people way on the left that think he should go to jail for this. I think there's somewhere in between that people should meet. So what does this mean now? Well, it's going to get into the House. It's going to pass the House. Why? Because the House is comprised of 431 members, 233 of them are Democrats. but it's not going to pass the Senate. The reason why it's not going to pass the Senate is because we have 53 Republicans in there, 45 of them are Democrats. This is a very unlikely situation. Extremely unlikely situation. What also is extremely unlikely is that my co-host never shows up on time. That's also very unlikely, but he has graced us with his presence. That's a nice shirt you're wearing, actually. The Cosmopolitan, that's a great shirt. Do you not have any other shirts to wear today, or is that the casino shirt thing? Or
I'm being handsomely compensated to wear this shirt, Brian.
Oh, okay.
Handsomely compensated.
Okay.
Thank you, Cosmo.
So do you listen on the radio when you're driving into the show? Like, do you actually listen to me to help our ratings, or do you not even do that?
I do not do that, no.
So you don't. So when you're showing up late and you're in your car,
I actually might listen to a different station on my way down here. It might be music.
oh well, that's cool. So
it's Sirius satellite radio.
So
And right now it's the Hallmark channel.
So you have absolutely no idea what I was just talking about as you walk into the studio.
Well, of course I know about Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi trying to draft articles of impeachment.
Well, she's not trying to. She
Well,
announced it today.
she's asking them to be drafted.
So if you weren't listening to me in the car, then how do you know that what I was talking about? I'm confused. Are you lying to me?
So our producer, for those who don't know, sends us an email every night.
Oh, a cheat sheet.
Before
All right.
the show begins. And
Okay.
I actually can read. And I was able to read that email and figure out what we were discussing.
I never
on this,
said you. I never
on
said
this
you couldn't
particular
read.
day.
I never called you Floyd Mayweather. I never said you couldn't read. Clearly, you can't show up on time. But I'm glad you can read though. Can you look? Can you read a clock?
I can.
So
can.
what happened this morning?
Today?
Yeah, I think the audience deserves to. deserves to
rough one. I had to take my wife and I had to take our daughter to the ER.
Oh,
at
I'm sorry
5:30 in
to
the
hear
morning.
That's horrible.
Got back at 6:15. Fell back asleep.
All right, that's not funny.
Slept a little late.
All right, no, that's not funny.
We have two cars, but the keys. Since I had 6 kids
Yes.
at my house the last
All right.
weekend, the keys to the Escalade are gone.
Okay,
I
well, I
cannot find
can't
them,
listen.
so I only have one car.
I can't make fun of you for that. It's
Yeah,
not
feel
funny.
free. You're
So-
welcome
No,
to.
I can't make fun of you for that, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore with you on the radio because it's not funny.
I really appreciate
All
that.
right, yes, that's not funny. I hope your kid is okay. But anyway, we were talking about how this is going to pass the House, the impeachment situation, but it's not going to pass the Senate because there's just too many Republicans in office. Yeah, in the rare instance that it did happen, Vice President Mike Pence would become president the remainder of Trump's term, which obviously ends January 20th, 2021. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't like Mike Pence probably any more than I like Donald Trump. So we're going to continue to monitor this, but this is not a shocker to anybody. Nancy Pelosi proceeding with articles of impeachment, and we'll continue to see where this goes. And we'll ask Brian Kilmeade about that in hour number 2. But I want to talk a little bit about Hillary Clinton. I don't talk about her very much. And the reason why I haven't talked about Hillary Clinton a lot, really ever, is because I never really liked her. I always considered her a phony, fake politician. I did not vote for her in 2016. I did not vote for her when she was running against Barack Obama in the Democratic Party. And again, I never thought she was a great candidate. I always considered her phony. And I recently had a discussion about this with Michael Avenatti in regards to how these Democrats, they need to go on Fox News. They need to get out of their comfort zone, right? A lot of these Democrats running for president go on the Howard Stern show. Go on shows where you reach a different audience. Hillary Clinton never did that in 2016, and I thought that was a big mistake. And I've always considered Howard Stern one of the best interviewers, if not the best, in the world. And for whatever reason, it's taken this many years for Hillary Clinton to do the Howard Stern show. She did it yesterday, and I got to tell you something. For the first time for me personally, I think we finally saw who the real Hillary Clinton is. She was relaxed. She answered all of Howard Stern's very personal questions. And we saw a side to her, at least for me, that I've never seen before. I didn't see Hillary Clinton yesterday on the Howard Stern show as a politician. I saw her as a very intelligent woman who's lived a pretty interesting life. And I thought she was very candid and very honest on the show. She talked about her relationship over the years with Bill Clinton. She talked about her popularity in high school. She even talked about whether she's ever had a female sexual experience. Yeah, she answered that question, as I think many people would not have answered it and would have said none of your business. Then she talked about Donald Trump, and she talked about that fateful day for her when she learned that Donald Trump defeated her. She talks about the personal phone call she had with Donald Trump, congratulating him, and what was said in that conversation. So there's some really interesting stuff in this interview. And I'm not ready to say that if Hillary Clinton ran for office that I would vote for her, but I will clearly say I have a lot more respect for her today than I did in the past because I finally saw an honest side to her that I never saw when she was running for president. And I want to play a few clips from this interview because I think it's fascinating and it's interesting. And I want to start with, some of the Donald Trump stuff because I believe this is cut 8 where Donald Trump wins the election. And literally within an hour after Donald Trump wins the election, Hillary Clinton gives him a call. Here's what she had to say about that.
I said, look, Donald, I want you to be a good president. I will do whatever I can to help you. So, we're in that
Was he
period.
gracious or was he a sore winner?
He was so shocked he couldn't, he could barely
form a
talk.
sentence.
He was as shocked as you.
Right.
He was more shocked than me, I think.
Wow. He was shocked.
Yeah, he was shocked.
Yeah. And when you see that day and the day after what Donald Trump looked like, he was in complete shock. I don't think he ever imagined that he would actually win. And he was kind of like in a trance. And I remember when he visited Barack Obama in the White House, he was still shocked. He was still in a trance. Now she talks about the inauguration speech, the very famous inauguration speech, or lack thereof, that Donald Trump made when he won. And she talks about how, listen, as president and as a leader, you want to also talk to those people that did not vote for you. If you recall, Barack Obama did that the day he won. He said, listen, I know there's people out there that didn't vote for me, but I want you to know that I'm your president too, and I'm going to work for you. Well, Donald Trump kind of divided the country immediately as he was voted into office. And Hillary Clinton talks a little bit about that, his inauguration speech.
Then he started on that speech, which was so bizarre. And that's when I got really worried. I thought, wait a minute.
This isn't rational.
It's not rational, but it's also not politics. It's not what a president does. A president is supposed to try to reach out to people who weren't for him or her. You're supposed to say, okay, I'm going to be the president of everyone, those who supported me and those who didn't, because we're going to pull the country together. I'd hope that I would hear a little of that. I didn't hear any of that. And then that carnage in the street and the dark dystopian vision, I was sitting there like just, wow, couldn't believe it. And George W. Bush says to me, well, that was some weird.
Wow.
I love that. I love that honesty. And I can totally picture George W. Bush saying something like that. And by the way, the Bushes and the Clintons and the Obamas get along better now than they ever have before, by the way. They really do. I find that to be very funny that George W. Bush says that to Hillary. I think that's hilarious. So obviously that was a difficult day for her. And she talked about how she felt, moments after she learned that Donald Trump had won the election. And this is cut, I believe, number 7.
Here's how I felt about it. I mean, obviously, I was crushed. I was disappointed. And I was really surprised because I couldn't figure out what had happened.
And you hadn't even written a losing speech when you lost that night. You had only had victory in mind.
No, and everything was pointed in that direction. So when he's going to be inaugurated, I was going as a former first lady.
Right.
That was the reason I was there. I was no longer in the Senate. I was secretaries of state don't usually attend, so I was.
But your sense of duty is my husband was president, I was first lady, and this is what we say to the country. There's continuity.
That is exactly how I felt.
Yeah, and I think she's being honest. I think she's telling the truth. But here's where the interview gets good, at least in my opinion, because this is where Howard Stern gets very personal with her, and these are the types of questions that Hillary Clinton has never been asked by a member of the media before. Because it would have been considered possibly inappropriate, right? It would have been considered out of bounds, so to speak. And you hear some hosts on Fox News yesterday, oh my God, I can't believe Hillary Clinton went on the Howard Stern show. Shut up. Just shut up. I'm going to tell you something. If she did the Howard Stern show in 2016, I think she would have won the election. He has gazillions of people that listen to him, and you're reaching out to men, and those are the type of people that she needed to vote for her. It wasn't women, it was men. But anyway, Howard Stern is going to ask salacious questions. That is what he does. So he asked her, cut 6, if she's ever had a sexual experience with another woman.
Well, contrary to what you may hear, I actually like men.
Oh, right, yeah. That's the other thing.
That's the other thing.
That's the
You're a
other
lesbian.
thing,
Women
right?
friends.
Yeah.
Raise your right hand.
Yeah.
You've never had a lesbian affair.
Never even been tempted.
That's nice to know. But, it's not really about whether we care whether she had a lesbian experience or not. It's the fact that she just answered the question. It's a side to her that we've never seen before. And she also went into dating Bill Clinton, but she spoke, cut 5, about the guy she dated before Bill Clinton. She was actually in love with somebody else before she met Bill Clinton in college.
I just liked him. He was a good guy.
Oh, he must have been so upset.
He was so handsome. He was really handsome. Really handsome. Yeah, he looked like a Greek god. He was really handsome.
No kidding. Greek god.
Yeah, he was very attractive.
Lou, I don't know. I'd listen to you.
Hillary's getting all wound up. She's getting all worked up sitting there talking about her first boyfriend.
She was romantically involved with an Adonis. That's kind of exciting.
But she talked a little bit about her dating life, before she met Bill. And here's what she had to say about that.
Boyfriends, yes or no in high school?
Boyfriends, yes.
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 Serious boyfriend?
No.
No one you ever said, I'm in love?
No.
You had not been in love yet?
No.
Bill was the first guy you loved?
No. There was somebody before him. Yeah.
Somebody before Bill that you would have considered marrying?
No. I would not have considered marrying.
But in love?
But in love.
We never hear about this guy. Oh, is this guy probably pissed he didn't close the deal,
We
right?
should have locked that down, right?
No.
He would have been at Oklahoma last night.
I mean, I dated a lot of different people, and
Right.
I liked a lot of them.
You were popular.
I was pretty popular.
Right.
Yeah, I was okay popular.
Right.
Yeah.
But boys were not your problem.
Boys were not my problem. But I had not, until I met Bill, met anybody that I thought I would ever marry.
Again, this is a side of Hillary Clinton that we've never heard before. And I believe there's a lot of women that are politicians. And whether Hillary gets back into politics, I don't know. But there's a lot of politicians that probably would not answer those questions candidly. And I certainly give her credit for that.
I have a very important question for you, Brian.
Yeah.
Do you think the number of men that Hillary Clinton has slept with is over 20?
I have no idea.
Based on that interview.
I have no idea.
She said she dated a lot of men.
I have no idea.
Do you think it's over 20? Do you think her,
no idea.
in man speak, we call it our number. Do you think her number is over 20?
Like I said, I have absolutely no idea. Bill Clinton's been with probably more than 20 women. I don't know. I don't know about Hillary, but the point I'm trying to make is not how many men she slept with, but the fact she is answering questions honestly and candidly, which is certainly a side of hers that I've never seen it. Maybe some others have. I haven't. So it didn't end there. Then she talked to, there was a lot of rumors and books and stuff about how Hillary met Bill Clinton. And there was this rumor that she was staring at him in a library and he was staring back at her. So she tried to clear up those rumors on how she met Bill. Here it is.
I said, if you're going to keep staring at me and I'm going to keep staring back, we ought at least to know each other's names. I'm Hillary Rodham. Who are you? So that's how I met him. That's how I met him.
I do
Were
kind
you
of like
nervous
that.
doing that?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, my God.
No.
I would never have the guts to even walk up to a woman. So the fact that you could do that. But it is a vulnerable position.
It
Because he
is.
could have said to you, oh, I'm not staring at you. Get lost.
Yeah, he could have.
Right.
He could have.
Because he could have been ashamed and embarrassed.
Then I would have known right then he wasn't worth the time.
So there's more cuts we could play from the interview because I thought it was pretty good and it was fascinating. Like I said, it was a side of Hillary Clinton that many of us have never seen before. I never supported her for the main reason of I picture her kind of as an Elizabeth Warren in this sense that she's kind of phony. She doesn't resonate. I don't know how honest she is. But I'll tell you one thing about Hillary Clinton. You can't say she's not an intelligent woman. You can't say she's not well educated. She's extremely smart. Extremely smart. And yeah, I thought her husband was a pretty decent president who reached across the aisle, got along with a lot of Republicans. Now, yes, you make the argument what he did in the Oval Office, cheating on his wife, bad, even though Donald Trump has done it time in and time over. And you could also make the argument that the reason why Hillary Clinton stuck around with Bill Clinton was maybe for her own personal gain to run for president someday. I don't know. I'm surprised she stuck around with him, but that's her personal business. I don't understand it, but that's her personal business. But I'm going to tell you right now, this morning, I have a lot more respect for Hillary Clinton than I have in the past because I thought she was very open. She was very honest. How often do we see that from a politician? And I'm not even talking about answering the dirty questions, right? Like, are you a lesbian? Have you ever been with a woman? I'm not even talking about stuff like that, although I was impressed that she had no problem answering. I'm talking about the questions of, were you popular in high school? Did you go out with a lot of people? Those types of questions. Tell me about a personal phone call. And she talked in this interview about a personal phone call she had with Barack Obama a day after Obama won the election. And remember, they ran fierce campaigns against one another, Obama and Clinton. And this was the most fascinating part of the interview, in my opinion, because she says, it's one thing to have an opponent and lose to an opponent that you respect. And it's another thing to lose to someone that you don't respect. In that case, she's talking about Donald Trump. But she said Barack Obama gave her a call, who she said she has great respect for, and said, listen, I need you to be my Secretary of State. I can't do this alone. I need your help. Let me do this. Let me worry about the economy. And we need better relationships with leaders around the world. I need you to help me with that. And Hillary's response was yes. And Howard asked her why. She said, because he's not an insecure guy in Barack Obama, not talking about Donald Trump. He needed my help. He admitted he needed my help. The United States needed a better relationship with our leaders across the world. He needed me to do that for him. And he openly admitted that. He wasn't, afraid that I would steal the show. And I came on board with it. And again, she spoke highly of Barack Obama and the respect she has for him, even though she disagreed with him on a bunch of things. She respects him. So how many people across the aisle, how many Democrats respect Donald Trump? How many Republicans, although many of whom won't admit it, like the Lindsey Grahams of the world, actually respect this man, Donald Trump? So later on in this interview, Hillary Clinton has one of her coughing fits. We're going to play that when we come back. And apparently Tucker Carlson had nothing better to do on his show yesterday than have a specialist come on and analyze Hillary Clinton's coughs. That's right. We'll play that for you. We can't make this up. Brian Kilmeade coming up in hour number 2 as well. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will have some cuts for you with Tucker Carlson, what he had to speak about last night on Fox News. We will take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Looking for the perfect gift? Then look no further than your local Ace for lots of perfect gift ideas. Whether it's Steel, Milwaukee, Traeger, Weber, or Yeti, you'll find all these great brands and more in one great place, your neighborhood Ace. And to help make sure your gifts are under your tree on time, you can buy online and pick up in store or get it delivered from your local Ace. This Saturday, don't miss a chance to meet Santa at our neighborhood Christmas party from 11 to 2. Get great deals and more when you wrap it in red at Ace at participating stores.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents. And Doug.
You two, my office, now! Emu, Doug, you're being transferred across town.
Oh, because they haven't heard that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
No, it's because Limu keeps eating the chips on Janine's desk. And her keyboard, and her expense reports, and her stress balls, and her...
Liberty. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Hey, it's Lee Goldberg of the GCI guys at Realty One Group. Do you know anyone that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, rent, move from California? If so, give them my number, 702-902-3029. All listeners of the Vegas Take get $1,000 in your hand back at closing. Hometown heroes, veteran, military, police, teacher, nurse, I'm giving you $2,000 back. That also goes for hospitality and casino employees. Free use of a moving truck for a day, 6 free months of home security. Call me, 702-902-3029, the GCI guys.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
And now a message from the traffic cone you ran over on Blue Diamond last week.
Okay, ow, that hurt. I know, you're in a hurry, but I could have been killed. Look, I have a wife and a baby cone on the way. I'm out there risking it all. And for what? I'll tell you, Southern Nevada's economic future. I'm helping the I-11 get built and the Centennial Bowl. So show a cone a little love.
Love the cone. For road construction details, visit seeingorangenv.com or call 702-928-CONE.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Whoa! There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
Special report, Pelosi recommends impeachment.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi accuses the president of violating his oath of office.
You heard yesterday in the Judiciary Committee the scholars present the Constitution and how the facts and the Constitution give us no choice but to move forward with impeachment of the president.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
I'll take the Speaker at her word, but if she paused for a moment, if she looked at just the facts, she would not have made that determination.
Democrats allege the president abused the power of his office by putting personal political gain over national security interests, engaging in bribery by withholding $400 million in military aid that Congress had approved for Ukraine, and then obstructing Congress by stonewalling the investigation. Democrats are planning to present evidence on the impeachment on Monday. I'm Mike Moss.
I'm Nick.
It's time to check the roads in the KTON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by In-N-Out Burger. A crash reported I-15 southbound at Tropicana, off to the right, not blocking. And in fact, I-15 has recovered nicely from the rush hour. I don't see any heavy delays in the area. And 95 northbound at College, another crash there. It's going to be at the on-ramp. On the surface streets, an accident, injury sustained reported Decatur at Farm Road. And some things you'll never find at an In-N-Out, like freezers or microwaves. Everything's made fresh just for you, because that's what a hamburger is all about. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-423-4557. That's 800-423-4557. 800-423-4557. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Does your child love math? Do they just love math so much that once they finish their homework, they want to work on extra math problems just for fun? Anyone? If you answered no, then you are not alone. While your child may not think math is important for their future, we know better. That's because Infinity the Math Institute offers the best math tutors in Las Vegas, produces the best results at the best prices for kids of all ages. Infinity the Math Institute does it all. Does your child need prep for the SATs? Right now, SAT preparation classes in November are just $15. Fractions, algebra, geometry, decimals, you name it. Plus, Infinity offers homeschool programs, free seminars for parents and students. And whether your child is transitioning from elementary school to middle school to high school, or preparing for college, Infinity can help. Classes are filling up. Call us now to find out more. 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. You want the best results for your child? One call to Infinity can have a huge impact on your child's future. Call now. 768-1777. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
Well, contrary to what you may hear, I actually like men.
Thank you, Hillary. Glad we could clear that up. Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro on a Thursday. By the way, coming up here at the top of the hour, we'll be speaking with Brian Kilmeade. Of course, you know him from Fox and Friends, Fox News, and of course he does his radio show before ours. So looking forward to speaking to him about his new book. Boy, plenty of questions I want to ask him about this impeachment inquiry, his thoughts on that. And I guess fake news, media. You know, he's been doing it a long time. We'll ask him plenty of questions coming up here in just a little bit. Rounding out the interview that Hillary did with Howard Stern yesterday, and that's what we've been talking about. She does have coughing fits from time to time. I think anybody that speaks as much as she does, I cough all the time. I'm on the radio 3 hours a day. You know, we're going to cough once in a while. So this is Hillary Clinton getting into a little bit of a coughing fit on the Howard Stern show yesterday.
You have to announce to someone, I'm going to go see Oklahoma to play.
Right.
And then they have
Yeah. Then they make a big deal out of it.
I know. I feel like I need to give you a cough drop or something.
I got one.
You
Thanks.
okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah. Even that, I remember if you even coughed when you were on the campaign, they said you were dying. You were dying. You can't even cough.
I know. I thought I'd come on
Yeah.
and cough some more.
So she's being kind of funny about it. But, it's not like there's anything else to talk about on Fox News, right? Not like there's an impeachment inquiry going on. Not like the president's in any sort of trouble or anything. Let's talk about negatives when it comes to Hillary Clinton. So what does Tucker Carlson, the man who says that white supremacy is a hoax, the person who I believe should not be on the air? It is an embarrassment when you make a statement like that. And Tucker said a lot of dumb things on his show. That was certainly up there on the list. So what does Tucker Carlson decide to do last night? He decides to get a medical expert to come on his show to talk about Hillary Clinton's coughing habits. Like a doctor can tell what's wrong with Hillary by listening to a cough on a radio show or on a TV program. Anyway, this is Tucker Carlson and his medical expert on his show last night.
If she has a chronic recurrent phlegmy cough, a patient like that, I would want to make sure if they were coming to me, does she have an underlying tendency to a respiratory infection? This is the season for respiratory infections. Yes. Also in 2016, Tucker, she was known and repeatedly said that she liked to eat jalapeno peppers and drink coffee and drink alcohol. Well, all of those things can lead to a terrible amount of acid reflux, which causes cough, asthma too. So if I were her physician or someone like her, and we can do a public health service here, I'd say if you're coughing, recurrent coughing, get to be seen, have a pulmonary workup, make sure you don't have reflux, asthma, pulmonary infections, or stress.
I mean, are you kidding me? This is the guest this isn't like some local show or, some podcast. Tucker Carlson has one of the highest rated TV shows in the country. This is the guest he decides to have on when all this other stuff is going on. He decides to have a doctor to come on to talk about Hillary Clinton's coughing habits. And, of course, the straight and arrow and boring, some of them, hosts on Fox News decide to criticize Hillary Clinton for doing the Howard Stern show, which is absurd. Okay, Donald Trump. And by the way, I have never criticized Donald Trump for anything he ever said on the Howard Stern show. Do you want to know why? Number one, because Howard's going to ask a lot of personal, revealing questions.
And you worship Howard Stern.
Well, let me finish what I was going to say. I respect Howard Stern a lot. Why? Well, do you disagree with me? Do you fault Hillary Clinton for doing the Howard Stern show?
I don't fault her one bit, Brian.
Do you fault Donald Trump?
I think every politician should do it moving forward because Donald Trump has basically proven that America does not really, some people do, but the majority of America does not really care if you're a pious, uptight politician type. They really don't care. If you do things like go on Howard Stern show.
What do you mean they really don't care if you're...
I mean, they really...
That's why Donald Trump won the election, because he's not uptight when it comes...
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
so... That's exactly what I'm saying. America's not looking for that. They're looking for someone they can relate to.
And this is why I thought Hillary should have done this 2 years ago.
And going on a show like this finally, Hillary Clinton can be relatable to the majority of the United States.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about this? What do you think of Hillary Clinton's appearance on the Howard Stern show? I have more respect for her now than I did before. Yes, I do think Howard Stern is one of the best at getting the most out of the person he is interviewing. He's very good at that. But there are also people that have gone on his show that have kind of clammed up a little bit, particularly politicians. That was not the case with Hillary Clinton yesterday. Do you have any more respect for her for what she did yesterday? I certainly do, and I'm one of those people that did not vote for her. The number to call in if you want to be a part of the program is 702-257-5396. Again, that number if you want to chime in on this. Hillary Clinton, her comments. Does what she did on the Howard Stern show yesterday, does it make you respect her any more, any less? Do you think that other politicians, when they're running for office, should go on the Howard Stern show? Do you think it's a good idea? Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the show is 257-5396. Again, that number, 702-257-5396. We've said it before, and I'll say it again. It is my personal opinion that she made a huge mistake by not doing the Howard Stern show in 2016. I believe that even somebody like Mike Pence, who I can't stand, who's anti-gay, anti any of these types of questions. I actually think it would help his profile if one day he decides to run for president, which I believe he will. One day for Mike Pence to do the Howard Stern show probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Again, that number to call is 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Your thoughts on Hillary Clinton's appearance on the Howard Stern show yesterday. Why don't we start off with Jimmy? Jimmy, thanks for calling in. What do you think about this?
Hey, what's up, Jimmy?
Not too much, other than the fiasco in Washington. But my opinion on Hillary Clinton is I have even less respect for her for going on the Howard Stern show because, like, he's just a shock jock. I mean, why would she go on there?
What do you think
he has his hookers and, like...
Not true. When was the last time you watched the Howard Stern show? Or listen, hold on.
That's not even close to true.
I haven't watched it since he went on, what was it, Cyrus Radio.
So it's called Sirius, and he doesn't just have hookers on his show. That is a factually inaccurate statement. He has everybody from politicians to former presidents to entertainers. And yes,
really? Yeah, Jimmy. Basically, anyone who is stopping in New York to do something of substance comes on his show.
Now, Jimmy, if you don't like his show, that's your opinion. That's fine. I think he's one of the best interviewers in the history of radio, and he's a pioneer. And that's just my personal opinion on him. Why would you have less respect for her? I don't understand that.
Well, I don't have no respect for the lady because one, she's had a lot of people die around her and her husband.
So that's a conspiracy theory.
She's done a lot of crooked stuff.
That's a conspiracy theory. I know, but what you said, Jimmy.
It's not a conspiracy.
Yes, it is. Show me evidence. Okay, fine.
Every time somebody says something negative about a Democrat, it's a conspiracy.
No, not true. Not true. So let me ask. Okay, well, first of all, that's not true. Second, hold on a second. I'm going to ask you a question. Let's debate this. That's fine. You think that Hillary Clinton is responsible for murdering people. So I ask you this specific question when you make an accusation like that. Number one, has she been convicted of a crime? Has she ever been charged with a crime of killing somebody?
Well,
Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Give me physical evidence. Okay, so give me. Okay, so if you're not a conspiracy theorist and you just called Hillary Clinton a murderer, okay, give me evidence.
She was a murderer. I said there's a lot of people that have died around her.
So you're inferring that she's responsible for people missing. Is that correct?
I think it's a good possibility.
Okay, so now that we've established that and you're not going to bounce your way around your stupid statement, give me evidence to support your claim that Hillary... Give me evidence and give me facts, as you say, that you have that supports the fact that Hillary Clinton is a murderer. Because I'm sure there are many Republicans out there that would love to put...
You said that.
You just said... you are a moron, Jimmy. Jimmy, you are a moron. You just said on the air just now, moments ago, I'm not making this up, that the Clintons are responsible for people going missing. Is that not what you just said? Everyone is missing, around the Clintons. That is making an inference to the fact that they're responsible for people gone. That is called a murderer, or that is called a kidnapper, whatever you want to call it. And when I ask you for specific evidence, you don't have it. That is why I call you a wacky right-wing conspiracy theorist. Goodbye. 257-5396.
The Seth Rich situation was kind of crazy. But, I want to talk about what I thought was really good about this Hillary Clinton interview. It's not the fact that she answered these very, very, interesting questions where she opened up for her personal life, but it was the way that she answered those questions. She actually sounded like, the Rhodes Scholar that she is. She actually sounded like
She's a smart lady,
a highly, highly educated individual, like her academic history presents. But when she was on the trail, when she was campaigning, she was just kind of screaming and yelling and attacking Trump. And when she's in a situation like this, a one-on-one scenario, she handled herself much, much better, and she sounded so much more intelligent.
Yeah, I agree. I thought she did a very good job. I agree. 257-5396. Let's go to Tommy. Tommy, you're next. What's up?
What's up, Tommy?
Hey, guys. What's happening?
Not much. What do you think about this interview, Tommy?
Well, I like Howard Stern. Been listening to him for years, and he has everybody on that show. Anybody that wants, anybody that's willing to jump into the ring with him,
Mm-hmm.
But Hillary Clinton, she just said, "Look, guys, the same thing I'm looking at. This lady, I'm not saying she's stupid. I'm thinking she's sly as a fox.
Yeah.
But the thing about her is a lot of, she's had a lot of crowds following her around for a while. And I wouldn't say politically she's done a lot of good things, especially when, like Haiti, when the island of Haiti got destroyed, and I sent $100 to the Clinton Foundation only because I had friends from there.
Yeah, right.
And those people didn't see one penny of it, guys. All
Listen,
that money
Hillary
got
Clinton.
gobbled up somewhere.
Tommy, Tommy, I don't disagree with you, and there's a reason why.
No, you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
though?
I do. Tommy, I do.
Following the lady.
Tommy, I do. And by the way, there's a reason why I never voted for Hillary. Not when she was running against Obama for the Democratic
either.
Party. And yeah, because I didn't think she was relatable, Tommy. And I think we agree. And I appreciate the phone call. I didn't think she was relatable. She sounded like a phony politician. She did in her speeches. I didn't like it.
Well, she sounded like a politician. And that's the whole problem.
Well, yeah.
And she tried to campaign as this polished career politician.
Let me tell you
and
something.
that's why Donald Trump blew her out of the water.
With millennials that are able to vote and all these other people, that's who you need to talk to. And when you talk like a politician in this day and age, you're probably not going to get elected. That's part of the reason why Donald Trump won. Hillary Clinton needed to do more of that. 257-5396. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you're next. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, JD, you amaze me sometimes with things you say because I don't think I've ever disagreed with what you said. And I know right now Brian's wants to kill me and thinking I'm some kind of conservative Republican, but I don't even consider myself independent, Democratic, or Republican. But I just want to say this. What Hillary Clinton said on Howard Stern's show kind of reminds me of the guy that's led a very terrible or suspicious or not too good of a life. And now he's kind of like on his last leg, or maybe let's say he's on his deathbed. So now all of a sudden he figures, you know something, maybe the spirit touched him, or maybe the spirit touched Hillary.
Brian, can I comment on that? Hang on the line, Brian.
She realized it's time to go, and she's going to be kind of forthcoming and truthful
Brian,
for the first time in her life.
And that might be possible, Brian. Hang on the line here for a second. Now, that might be, hold on, that might be one reason. Let me give you another reason. Maybe Hillary Clinton realized, oh, shoot, I made a mistake. I need to talk to these middle-aged men, many of whom I would imagine might be liberal or Democrat, and I need to go on the Howard Stern show. It's a mistake. I should have done it 3 years ago, and you know what? Whether I run for office or not, I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to give it a shot. Isn't that possible, Brian?
I agree with Brian, but here's the thing, so you're inferring that she still has some kind of political ambition when you say
yes,
that.
I do.
And I think she definitely does.
I do. And if she doesn't,
I mean,
I do.
Look, let's just put it this way. I've called you guys quite a few times, and I made this statement, no president ever changed my life, because if you're really honest with yourself, if you want to do something in this country,
you can
it's
do
not going to be decided by the president.
Right.
But that being said, I'm going to say this. The political atmosphere nowadays, I wish they would just kind of reboot the whole thing, and I am really, really in favor of limiting the terms on these people.
Brian,
you see these guys for decades.
Yeah, Brian, let me tell you something, man. And I appreciate the call, by the way, Brian.
Yeah, great call, Brian.
I could not, I know you're going to be shocked to hear this, Brian. I could not agree with you more. You are absolutely 100% right. These term limits. And you know what? There's some Republicans that are saying that. There's more Democrats saying that than Republicans these days, but I agree with you 100%. 257-5396 is the number to call. That's 702-257-5396. Let's go to James. James, you're next. Go ahead.
What's up, James?
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Good, great. My name is James Ebert. I'm a United States Marine.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Once a Marine. Thank you. Always a Marine. Benghazi is a fact. She would not answer the door, nor would President Barack Obama. And there were more than just the ambassador that was killed there. They would not send the troops in to stop that massacre.
Okay, James, let me just ask you a question then. With all due respect, there were 8 Republican investigations into Benghazi, all of which cost taxpayers a lot of money, and there was no wrongdoing found, no criminal activity, no wrongdoing found. 8 Benghazi investigations. So what do you say to that?
Well, being a Marine and knowing that war is war, terrorist is terrorist, the sad thing is, and that's a political program.
But 8 Republican. But whoa! What do you mean that's a political? Again, with all due respect, 8 Republican investigations. Republican. They were trying to find anything they could to get Hillary and Obama on something. They couldn't find anything. So what do you mean that political? They tried to. So if you're going to criticize, look, Hillary Clinton, again, I didn't vote for her, But in this situation, I'm going to defend her. Listen, there's no question that mistakes were made. It's horrible that 4 people lost their lives. It's horrible when 1 person loses their life, James. And listen, you're a veteran, and I appreciate your service to this country. But why, after 8 Republican investigations, would you still continue to go on this side of Obama and Hillary did this, this, and this? It was investigated.
You know, I have to first admit, the first 4 years, and I voted for Obama for change. And the first 4 years was okay. The second 4 years was not okay. The fact that John Kerry and Hillary and Obama were in control at different times in different positions, and John Kerry is a great veteran also.
Sure.
I feel that door should always been opened, and what happened, because they got no response from D.C.,
right?
What happened is the Black Ops took it upon themselves and told their leader, we're going in.
James, I understand that, and I apologize, James, but I have to get to some other callers. I don't want to do 15 minutes on Benghazi, but I will say this.
Good call, James.
And thank you for your service, but the bottom line here is there were 8 investigations. 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you're next on the Vegas Take. Go ahead.
What's up, Ron? Don't scream.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing great.
I'm gonna add to the Benghazi thing. You see, everybody says these guys were killed, they were killed. But you guys probably never saw it. You know how they were killed? They went into a safe room in the middle of the embassy, and they were burned and cooked to death.
Yes, they were.
Room.
And it's horrible.
They were not killed. They were cooked to death, and it took hours for that to happen. And where was that pig bitch in New York City?
Did you just call Hillary Clinton a pig and a bitch?
She is a pig, bitch, enabler, and she's a pimp for her husband, yes.
She's a pimp.
She went to the island with Jeffrey Epstein, and they got proof of it.
So, Ron, could I ask you a question,
They
Ron?
had their
Can
own
I?
cabana and everything.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, Ron. Would you admit that Donald Trump also had personal relationship with Epstein?
He was not president when this happened.
It doesn't matter
Her
whether you're
husband
president or
was
not.
president.
It doesn't matter.
I'll agree with that, Ron.
Buddy,
Ron?
You're twisting
Ron?
everything
But
around.
Ron?
Clinton's relationship was
Okay,
much
so you
more
start
aggressive
off-
than
you
Donald
start
Trump.
off-
You guys ran for mayor.
You
of
start off the
Boston.
conversation.
You
Okay,
guys
pot him
ran
down.
for mayor of Boston.
Okay, pot him down. Ron, you started off the conversation talking about how these 4 individuals that lost their lives were cooked alive. Yes, they suffered a very painful death. That still doesn't make anything better or worse for Hillary Clinton. The fact of the matter is that there were 8 investigations, and I'm not going to continue to talk about that. There were 8 Republican investigations into Benghazi, all finding no wrongdoing between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I'm not sure what else you want me to say. Would you like to talk more about the Mueller report? And you want to talk about how that was impeachable and Trump should have been impeached? No, your response would be the report came out and they did not find enough wrongdoing to impeach the president. Same thing here. 257-5396. Let's go to John. John, you're next. What's up?
What's up, John?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Oh, I just called in because your original question was about Hillary on Howard Stern, and
Yes,
I
it
thought
was.
it was fabulous. So let's get back on subject. I thought it was fabulous. I think she should have done that during her campaign.
Agree.
Howard has a way of interviewing like it's talking to somebody who came over to your house for dinner.
Correct.
That being said, her campaign, she came off probably like a middle school girl's dean,
right,
and was often condescending.
You're right.
In that kind of setting,
She
with
was very
Howard
patronizing.
Stern, you're bringing her down to a regular person. I think more people would have related to that, and she probably would have done a lot better had that been the case.
You are 100% correct, John. I agree. And let me ask you this, because I've said it even today. Many of these Democrats need to go on Fox News. I don't know why they're afraid to. Just like I would say many Republicans need to go on MSNBC or CNN. Would you agree with that, John?
Well, I do agree with it, but when it's a discourse about issues, the problem with Fox News, you go on Hannity shows, he doesn't let them speak.
If he disagrees with them, yeah, you're probably right.
I know he just doesn't let them talk. I mean, he shuts people down.
Mm-hmm.
He is just an ignorant ass. But you know, Bill O'Reilly was a little bit better about letting people talk. But unless you were guaranteed you'd be able to say what you want to say,
yeah. Or unless you were, or John,
they're very hypocritical.
or John, unless you were an attractive female that was willing to sleep with Bill O'Reilly or go on a date with him. Yeah, exactly. John, appreciate the phone call. Thank you.
Hey,
I got about
good call, John.
We got to take a break, but I got about 1 minute for Anthony. Anthony, what's up?
What's up, Anthony?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I just wanted to say I did listen to the interview. There's a reason why the lady was, 67% approval rating as Secretary of State and 60% as the senator when she left her seat.
Yeah.
The woman is great at what she does, and she should have done that during her campaign because that was the only weak link, that they held her so tight, they wouldn't let her be who she is.
Yeah,
Right?
and I think you can see in that interview, JD's right. She showed that she showed. I mean, look, we all knew before this, unless you're biased. She's obviously an intelligent woman, but you really
Very
saw
much,
that. You saw that side to her and her openness, the real Hillary Clinton.
And it was not forced.
Yeah, and there was nothing phony in that interview, and that's what I loved about it. You know, Anthony.
I think every Republican senator that when she was in the Senate, loved it. They all had high praise when she left that seat.
Right.
So again, she proved the point again with that interview. Howard Stern is pretty good at what he does.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think he's the best.
I'm used to the other side, but that guy's great. He did a great job.
I agree,
All right,
Anthony.
guys.
Thank you for the call,
Thanks
Anthony.
a lot,
We
Anthony.
appreciate that. There are a lot of people out there, the Mike Pences of the world, right, the ultra-religious right, that have attacked Howard Stern for years. This man is the best interviewer in all of radio and in all of TV, as far as I'm concerned. And just as if it was Hillary Clinton, it could have been Lindsey Graham or anybody on the right, and he would have done the exact same thing. He would have done a great job, and we got to take a break. Hey, this is going to be fun, JD. We got Brian Kilmeade coming up next. Kilmeade, as you know, does the show here at KDWN right before our show. And we enjoy stealing some of his listeners, but he's also got a new book out. It's called Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers. He's going to be joining us next. Plenty of questions to get to with Brian Kilmeade. You're listening to Sharp and Shapiro right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON.
Hi, Mark Hale here, owner of Today's Energy Store. Winter is here, temperatures are dropping, heaters are coming on, lights are going up on the trees and homes, and that means you're using more electricity. SunPower by Today's Energy Store has fair and upfront honest pricing. We've been helping Nevada homeowners with solar solutions for over 10 years. This holiday season, we want to make it even better to get the most efficient solar in the industry. Sign up to go solar by December 31st, and you can get an extra $1,000 rebate direct from SunPower. Let us help you save money with solar this holiday season. Call 702-558-1500. That's 702-558-1500.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
This is Lorraine Hunt Bono, inviting you to tune in for Breaking Bread with Bono. Join my husband, Dennis Bono, as celebrities share with him their intimate and humorous stories. Saturdays, 5 to 6 p.m., right here on KDARN.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and listen to us deliver timely, balanced truths about our market right here in Southern Nevada. You know, there's nothing that I enjoy more than educating our listeners about real estate, except maybe a well-prepared Reuben sandwich where the corned beef is really lean. Sorry, I digress. But please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM 720 AM KDAWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
Las Vegas is glitz and glamour, but between neighborhood greenways and marquees lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans. Our nation's heroes who've ensured our freedoms, who haven't escaped the effects of war. Veterans Village is a place of hope, providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless veterans. Veterans Village is a nonprofit that saves lives, but we need you. Please donate today at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org.
There are lots of ways to be a kid. My way is to take a road that's not easy, so it's a good thing I'm an adventurer. That's why I'm going to be a Cub Scout, because scouting will guide me to really big things. So scout me in.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Special report: Pelosi recommends impeachment.
This is about the Constitution of the United States and the facts that lead to the president's violation of his oath of office.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the House will write articles of impeachment against President Trump.
Our democracy is what is at stake. The president leaves us no choice but to act because he is trying to corrupt, once again, the election for his own benefit.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy says Pelosi is putting politics ahead of the nation.
History will look back today, and it'll be a sad day. We hope that at any time, whoever has this power in this country, that they never repeat what Alexander warned us would come, and that this day will never happen again in America.
Democrats Monday present evidence the Judiciary Committee could then vote as early as next Thursday to recommend formal impeachment of President Trump. I'm Mike Moss. House Republican Mark Green says he will vote against impeachment.
It looks like the folks that are talking about the incident anyway just have presumption of the evidence, so it's not even proof, it's presumption. And we're moving forward with an impeachment on something that the folks in Tennessee don't even see as a bad thing.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
The working Americans and their families are not well served by Democrats' political performance art. What they really need are results.
President Trump has turned to the Supreme Court to try to block an effort by Congress to obtain the president's personal financial records. A senior State Department official says Iranian forces may have killed more than 1,000 in response to recent protests against the government. Police used tear gas at protesters in the center of Paris today, and public transport ground to a near halt in one of the biggest strikes in France in decades. The Dow down 44. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDWN Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Dispatch Health. The accident on the 95 northbound at Horizon on-ramp, that is still a factor. Watch for slowing in the area, but it is not blocking the through lanes. And a crash reported on the surface streets. Got a couple. Koval Lane, north of Flamingo. Looks like that is with injuries. Watch for police and fire. Another injury crash. This is an earlier one reported Decatur at Farm. Still a factor. Watch for slowing. When you're sick, every minute counts. Go to dispatchhealth.com, where high-quality medical care comes to you. Visit dispatchhealth.com to learn about medical professionals who make house calls. Dispatch Health, covered by most insurance. I'm John Michaels from the KDWN Traffic Center.
This holiday season, get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for the Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10, here on the new 101.5 FM and 720 AM.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who owes back taxes, if you get nervous when the mail comes because you might get a letter from the IRS, then you've heard. Their enforcement agents are cracking down this year and can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk over unpaid taxes. It's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. The award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best deal possible, protecting your paycheck and your assets from IRS collections. But don't delay, because the IRS is tacking on interest and hefty penalties every single day. So don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Tuscany Suites and Casinos is a place for locals to win in December. Tuscany is giving away 55-inch flat-screen TVs and free slot play every Friday at 2:15 and 6 p.m. during their holiday drawings. 10 winners each Friday. Plus, every Friday starting at noon, try your luck with hot seat drawings where you can win an Amazon Echo Dot just for playing your favorite games. For more information, visit Tuscany Players Club for complete details. Tuscany Suites and Casinos, 2 blocks east of the Las Vegas Strip at 255 East Flamingo, where parking is also free.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. We are saying farewell to Tuesdays at 9 a.m. and moving to Saturdays at 11 a.m. Please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
Hi, it's Matt Ray with America's First News, heard right here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDON. Start your day in the know. From Washington to Wall Street and covering the world, we've got you covered with the latest news, commentary, and analysis. Everything but the cup of coffee. America's First News, weekday mornings, 2 to 6 a.m., right here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
The jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. So if you're a middle school student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. A public service message from America's Navy.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Linda Newman with the Poppy Foundation. We're a 100% volunteer 501c3 charity. We care for chronically ill and abused cats, and we need your help. The Poppy Foundation is always in need of cat food, towels, paper towels, non-clumping unscented clay litter, and your time. We're always looking for great volunteers to come help with our kitties. Find out more about the Poppy Foundation on our Facebook page. You can also visit us at our website, poppyfoundation.org.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
720 on the AM, 101.5 FM.
Yeah, now on FM.
The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON.
Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Thursday. And the guy we have with us on the line right now, I've been wanting actually to speak with him for a long time. Of course you know him on Fox News. He is a very familiar face. He's the co-host of Fox and Friends. He's got a new book out called Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers, the Texas Victory That Changed American History. And it's always a pleasure to steal a few of his listeners because he's on before us and he does a fantastic job. So we certainly have to thank him for that. Brian Kilmeade joining us right now on the line. Brian, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
It's an honor to be your lead-in. How are things in Vegas?
Things are good, man. We missed you. You did your show out here not that long ago, I heard.
Well, I think the last time we were out there were the debates.
Right.
I don't think I would definitely come. Oh, yeah, actually, I'm wrong. I did come out, and I did go to the performance studio right after and did meet a lot of your great listeners. And I did go through your stuff, and most of your valuables are now with me.
Well, you wouldn't have much. I don't know much. As you know, radio, when you first get your start, it doesn't pay very well. So I don't have that many valuables, Brian. But there's a lot, there's a lot I want to get to with you, Brian, in a short period of time. Let's start with this. We've talked a little bit about Hillary Clinton today. We haven't really spoken about her in a while. And a lot of speculation whether she will run for president, whether she won't. What did you make of her interview on the Howard Stern show? Because I think she should have done that interview 3 years ago.
I'll put it this way. I only heard excerpts of it. I'm a huge Howard Stern fan, probably the biggest. And from day one, even when he comes after me, which he did a couple of times.
Did he really?
But yeah, I forgot what it was. But I just think he's fantastic. But with Howard Stern, with the last time I saw Howard Stern, he is a guy that likes Donald Trump. And his interviews, the interviews he did with Howard Stern really haunted him because Donald Trump is honest. And they're talking about women, and he's talking about dating, and when he's in between wives. They did 25 years of interviews. And he always liked Trump, and he says, I never thought he should be president.
Right.
And then he seems to have gone a little bit to the left these days, Howard Stern, because his best friend's Jimmy Kimmel, and we know where he is.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Since you're a big Howard guy like myself, I didn't know that about you. See, Howard, he's been friends with Trump over the years, and Howard's take on Trump has always been, look, why did you want to run for president? You have a nice family. You have all the money in the world. You're in your golden years. Why did you want this stress? And I kind of agree with Howard. Do you kind of agree with that?
Well, I understand his perspective, but Trump has been talking about running for president since the 80s. I mean, Phil Donahue was the first one to ask him. I don't know how many of our listeners actually remember who Phil Donahue was. He had the whole format before Oprah got it.
Right.
So he was on there, and they were talking about, this whiz kid. And remember shaking the hands of Richard Nixon, and Nixon being impressed with him, and going to the White House. So he's been every time he gets in goes to promote a fight or the USFL, he was still talking about running for president. So it's one of those things that was just out there for him. It's like Howard Stern, for example, if he always said, I want to be a TV star and have a talk show, and at 60-something years old, he finally gets a late-night talk show. You're like, why do it? It's one of those things that was out there for him, and I do think he planned on winning, and I do think he was the better candidate. And evidently, Hillary Clinton was very open and honest when she was and likable talking to Howard Stern.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think that Hillary Clinton going on the Howard Stern show is indicative that she may be looking to run for the presidency in 2020?
I don't know. A lot of her people, just three of her main people, or three other people, Obama people that would have been with her, just went to Pete Buttigieg today, matter of fact.
Wow.
So until I hear her assembling a staff,
right.
I don't really think that's it. But I will say this: if I'm a Democrat, I mean, the reason why Bloomberg and Deval Patrick jumped in is because there's just nobody breaking through.
Yeah, I agree.
And not only that, even if you had the next coming of Barack Obama, everything's about Trump and everything's about impeachment.
You're right.
So you can't even get your head above water in a time in which the whole country should be focusing on you. You don't even have the Iowa caucus yet. Nobody seems to care about these people. Yeah. So if in the back of her mind she thinks she can run, she should, but I think she's too old. I think she's not physically in great shape, and I actually think that she has Trump derangement syndrome. She's obsessed with the fact that she lost and won't accept it. The other day she goes, "I'll beat him again." You'll beat him again.
Well,
what don't you understand about 300 electoral votes?
Yeah, obviously, she didn't win the electoral vote. She won the popular vote, as you know. But you're certainly right about that. I mean, look, let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump, if I may, because you've interviewed Donald Trump a number of times, particularly on Fox and Friends. And I think you do as good a job as you guys can. Am I wrong to say this, Brian, that I think Trump is one of the most difficult people to interview? Because it appears there are times where you're trying to get a word in edgewise and you're trying to ask a question and he mumbles. And I see this look on your face, Brian, and I don't want to assume things because you've always been respectful to the president. And I would as well if I had a chance to interview him. But it just seems to me that at times you guys get a little frustrated when you're interviewing him.
Well, you got to keep it understanding. Like, no president ever calls in. He's actually calling in on the phone. So instead of me looking at him one-on-one, it's 1-on-3, and we're on the couch, and everyone's staring at us.
Right.
And a full screen that says Trump. But, there's a couple of things. When you interview the president, you got to let him finish. But yet, if you let him finish, you only get 3 questions in.
Right.
And if you remember that when Brett Baer interviewed when Chris Wallace interviewed Bill Clinton, when Brett Baer interviewed Mitt Romney, wasn't a president but was running for president, and then when Bill O'Reilly interviewed Barack Obama, they all said the same thing. Why do you keep interrupting me? It's like, well, I'm trying to get a word in.
Right.
And the thing is, you get people that are going to be ticked off. I got a lot of that. Wow, why are you interrupting? I'm like, really? I'm like,
you have to.
I owe it to the audience to get something new out.
You have to interview him. Otherwise, he's going to keep going. If you're just joining us, Brian Kilmeade, his new book, Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers, also does a great show that we are here every morning. It is the Brian Kilmeade Show. Brian Kilmeade is joining us on the line. All right, let's talk a little bit about media bias, then I want to get to your book. So here's what I do, Brian. I watch Fox News. I do. And I watch CNN. I feel like I get 2 sides to the story. I believe CNN leans to the left after 5 p.m., and I believe Fox News leans to the right. I think that's a very fair statement to make. And then I draw my own conclusions. Do you think it's dangerous? And I'm not trying to say, well, people need to have to watch both sides, but do you think it's dangerous if people just watches one network or just the other network, and that's how they form their opinions?
Well, a couple of things. If you said to me 4 years ago, I'd say I absolutely flip around. I mean, I went out of my way to flip around. Even if I wanted to watch Hannity, I go, no, you know what? I gotta flip. I gotta get another perspective because I'm doing the radio show and Fox and Friends. So if I can't, I always like to pull sound from other shows.
Right.
So I got to kind of watch. But now I don't because there's one note. And you said for CNN's only bias after 5 p.m. Alison Camerata is one of my best friends in television. She's one of the best hosts I can ever host with.
Mm-hmm.
But they have never said anything positive against the president for 3 years. That's not possible. I mean, it's not possible. He's done nothing right. And you literally, I don't think you can keep employed there if Jeff Zucker would keep you employed if you said anything positive about the president.
Well, it's a fair point that Jake Tapper and Wolf Blitzer do lean to the left. There's absolutely no question about it. And look, there's a lot.
Brian, they live
yeah,
on
they
the
do.
left. They live there.
I've always liked Wallace and Shepard Smith for just giving out the news. You know, they're not really, and you know, I know Shepard left with you guys, but Brett Baer is another guy that I would say I have tremendous amount of respect for. And then but you're right. Look, CNN leans way to the left. I'm not going to deny that. There's no question about it.
It never used to be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's no question about that. I certainly don't disagree with you. Hey, here's a really important question for you. When are we going to see Jesse Ventura back in studio with you round 2? Because I remember years ago you guys went at it and then you walked off the set. Do you remember that?
Well, you can appreciate this. I wasn't walking off the set. I was walking the radio.
Oh, is that what you were doing?
The show was over. So people kept saying, I walk on the set. I go, guys, I can't. I have 6 minutes to get 18 floors. That's every day.
Okay, so that's a misunderstanding then, but I love it when you go at it with people like that. I think that's great television, and you know this. It's great radio. Does he not want to go on Fox and Friends anymore, or has he come on since?
I actually, to steal a word from the president, I do think he's deranged. I think there's something absolutely mentally wrong with him.
Yeah.
I think he's nuts. I think whether it's the steroids he was taking, but he's not worth to keep booking. I'm telling you right now, if he comes in and shows, I want to come on the show, don't book him. He's out of reality. He's out surfing in Mexico somewhere. So he's not a guy I'm looking to book again.
Who is the weirdest, strangest interview you've ever done in your career? And also name me one person that you've always wanted to interview that has never done it.
I've interviewed Bill Clinton out, and that's when he was at his zenith, most popular after he was done. I interviewed him at the Super Bowl. But I also interviewed him right after 9/11. He stopped, and for some reason he walked to my camera. But I always wanted to get him in studio. Now he's such a diminished figure. That used to be it. I mean, I really got to think about that. Actually, I would love to catch up to a guy that I used to love, Sting. I used to thought he was, as a musician, I thought he was great. He's got this global concept. I thought it was fantastic. And I'm looking for a sequel with him. And I was willing to even meet him on 57th Street, which is the name of his last album. And he still wouldn't do it because we're Fox.
Oh, geez.
So that gets kind of.
Don't you think more?
I did Letterman on radio. I'd love to do Letterman again.
I want to talk to you about.
There's that Fox thing again.
I want to talk to you about your book, but I just one more follow up to what you just said. Don't you think more Democrats? I've said this all along. More Democrats need to go on Fox News, just like I would say more people on the right need to go on MSNBC and CNN. Yeah. Wouldn't it be better for Democrats to do your show, to do Sean Hannity, to do shows like that, and get a little bit out of your comfort zone, and maybe. Worst case scenario, maybe you might turn a few Republicans. I mean, I don't understand why more Democrats won't do your show.
Yeah, I mean, we have, I know Chris Coons comes on all the time. Swalwell came on all the time. I know when I fill in for Tucker, he always tries to book Democrats. I think it would make sense. What I think is going to happen, and you've heard me say this on the show, is that I believe after this election, it's going to be, first, I think it's going to be immigration. Something's going to break, and we're going to do this horrible thing, compromise. And then they're going to look at health care, and they're going to say both parties are going to set up a working group. We're going to get a study in 6 months, and we're going to sign off on it. And sooner or later, that'll help from the top down relax everybody and cut the tension a little bit and start seeing everybody's other side. But when you decide to impeach a president on this phone call, and when you see that Jonathan Turley, who didn't vote for him and hasn't voted for a Republican, it doesn't seem for about 20 years, when he breaks down as a constitutional attorney how out of your minds you have to be to make this impeachable, then you understand that things are only going to get worse. Things are going to get really bad. The election is 9 months away, 10 months away, and now you're going to see the anger just hit all-time highs because now one Republican is crossed and about a handful of Democrats will cross. And when Nancy Pelosi has a press conference like she just had, how dare you say I hate, as if that's – someone asked the question, do you hate the president, which is a quote from Doug Collins, and she snaps. Then she says, I have no choice but to go forward with this. There is beyond dispute the president abused his office. Of course there's a dispute. We watched 3 weeks of a dispute.
Mm-hmm.
You could say, in my view, or in our view, the president abused his office. But when you sit there and put words in people's mouth, it drives them nuts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So one thing I don't understand, we were just talking about networks, but I would probably say that 60 to 70% of CNN's content right now revolves around Donald Trump. Why, if that's the case, and that's where obviously, when all your content is revolves around one person, and obviously you have ratings and advertisers and sponsor dollars, et cetera, why are they hoping that he is no longer the president of the United States? Because their ratings will just plummet. Why are they trying to shoot themselves in the foot? I don't understand that.
And, people buying New York Times again, Washington Post again, because the president keeps talking about him. He's been great for everybody's business. He really has. But the problem is the media has not given him a fair shot. And he's his worst enemy when it comes to the media. He does provocative things. He never should say enemy of the people and point up there.
Mm-hmm.
Never was for that, ever. But the fact is, today they write this story in Axios. Best example. They write, for the first 2 years, the president done thing in manufacturing that really reversed and delivered for blue-collar workers. But over the last year, due to the China trade loggerheads that were out in the tariffs, things have really slowed down, taking that narrative away from the president. I go, wait a second. So you're actually giving him credit after 3 years for bringing manufacturing back, something you denied, in order to say it's now down, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Listen, we all know that there's a lot of bias in the media. And listen, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I love talking to people like you, and I love talking to Trump supporters that are reasonable Republicans. So I guess that would be my next question. I believe there are many reasonable Republicans out there that say, look, what the president did in this phone call with the Ukrainian president, at the very least, I wouldn't have done it. It was wrong. It was probably beneath the presidency. He shouldn't have done it, but I'm not so sure. But I'm not so sure it's an impeachable offense. And I think that is a reasonable position, Brian. I really do. But I think what's not reasonable are the people on the right that echo the president's remarks that this phone call was a quote unquote perfect phone call. And some of those people that are attacking Vindman, a war hero, those are the people that I call unreasonable Republicans. Do you think that's fair?
If you attack Vindman for his fighting, that's ridiculous. If you say that you didn't deserve the Purple Heart or whatever he got, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. But if Vindman's going to come out there and have an opinion, and he said, I don't think you should ever do this for a political opponent, those are parroting like Adam Schiff's words. And the other thing is, he did have a proclivity towards the Ukraine. And if those people who say you never should criticize anyone in uniform, please keep that in mind when it comes to Michael Flynn.
Right.
Please keep that in mind when
fair.
it comes to John McCain.
Yeah, that's fair.
John McCain was ripped every day on the late night shows on down. They're like,
he was.
Well, he's a war hero. By the president of the United States called him, I like people that don't get captured.
Sure.
But, it's ridiculous. But either hands off because you fought war, but back in a different era, 7 out of every 10 men were actually war veterans. Now it's 1 out of, 5,000 or 20,000.
Sure.
So I love people that have respect. I love, there's a lot of people in jail right now that were great Marines, and they did some horrible things. There was a guy that just shot up on the docks in Virginia Beach, in Hawaii. Evidently, he got a great service record, but he just shot 3 people and then killed himself.
Sure.
On December 7th. Just shot him yesterday.
Yeah.
So. There's got to be a degree. I want to respect the uniform, but it doesn't mean you got to respect everything they say. And Vindman felt like he had to stand up. There's a problem with this whole whistleblower, that whole cabal, how that all came out, and why they're trying to hide him now because he's so politically oriented. And I say this: if someone's on the record disliking me, and there's plenty that are, and they have a problem with me legally, I would at least like to know if that person has already had an axe to grind with me. And my accuser, and I think you should come out. If you want to,
I think that's fair. No doubt. I think that's fair.
If you Google me, and I've said this before, if you Google me, you look at the president tweeted against me, tell him how wrong I am to criticize him on Syria, the pullout.
Yeah.
How wrong I was to say that Megyn Kelly had good ratings. How wrong I was when I said George Bush did not know about weapons of mass destruction ahead of time. I knew that was absolutely the case.
Right.
So, how wrong it was to interview, to ridicule a already dead John McCain. I've already said this.
And I respect
he doesn't
that.
like it. because I don't have, my compliments mean nothing if everything he does I say is right. That means everything
Well, it's called
say
credibility.
should be thrown in the crease.
It's called credibility, and that's why we appreciate what you do. Okay, last question for you, Brian. You're a pretty busy guy doing TV and radio. I want to give you a chance to talk about your book, Sam Houston and the Alamo Avengers, the Texas victory that changed American history. Talk to me a little bit about this book, why you decided to write it, and give people a rundown on why they should go pick it up.
Well, here's the thing. The other 49 states, including Nevada, doesn't really understand this story like Texans do, and I always thought, well, that's their story, until Fox Nation asked me to go cover the Alamo. And they asked me to do a 30-minute mini documentary on it, and I talked to all these people, and they would say to me, Brian, this is only a small part of the story. The Texas Revolution, you got to do the Texas Revolution. I said, okay. And then I sat down with Doug Brinkley. And then, believe it or not, I'm not name dropping, but Ken Burns came in the studio, and he goes, what are you working on? I go, I really don't know. And he says, well, where are you going? I go, well, I'm going to San Antonio to do the Alamo. He goes, well, do San Jacinto. That's your book, Alamo to San Jacinto. And I said, you mean the victory? At the end, he goes, no. What happened there is people aren't going to believe it. It's not well chronicled. You got to do it. So I said, what if I told you a book? I wrote a book. They told you how Texas got populated with Americans, what caused them to rise up, why the Alamo matters so much, why Goliad was even more of a massacre, and how Sam Houston led the most unfathomable victory, you could argue, even though technically not America, but American-fought victory maybe in our history, just 60 years after our first revolution. And all we were doing was a bunch of put-together hodgepodge of soldiers with a lot of courage, willing to fight to the death. And they came together and struck at the perfect time to wipe out a standing Mexican army and capture Santa Ana. And I thought if I could talk about the Texas Revolution that changed American history, that people would care, and thankfully it's come off and it's still on the bestseller list. We're 4 weeks in.
That's awesome.
It's number 3 in the country. And I think that we find out that our listeners are into politics and they love the country. They know we're not perfect in our past, but they want to embrace our past. And if I could tell them or reignite some passion they had in history, and I write for the everyman, I have no interest in impressing the Harvard professor. That's impossible. So I thought if I could write for the masses, that there might be people that are interested.
Well, Brian, you're right. People do care, and it shows with the selling of your book. And congratulations on all your success. We're really happy to have you here doing the morning show at KDWN. We're happy to do the show after yours. You're a class act and one of the most successful guys in the business. We have a lot of respect for you, and we appreciate you taking some time to join us. We hope we could have you on again sometime.
That would be great, and I look forward to talking to you guys again. I promise to make sure you're in studio when I go in studio next time.
We would love to meet you in person, Brian. Thanks again for your time, man. We really appreciate it.
Go get him, guys.
All right, thanks very much. Brian. There you go, Brian Kilmeade joining us, co-host of Fox and Friends. Good guy, And it's so interesting because when you have I did the same thing with Mark Levin. Okay, and by the way, I think Mark Levin is way further to the right than Brian Kilmeade. I'll explain what that means coming up next. But Brian Kilmeade sounds to me like a pretty reasonable guy.
He's extremely reasonable. I actually had someone message me on Facebook say, I hope Brian doesn't go off the rails on Brian Kilmeade.
No, I would never do that.
I said there is a difference between guests and callers, my friend.
No question. Your reaction to that Brian Kilmeade interview, we'll talk about that when we come back. And what are some of Donald Trump's, I guess you could say, behaviors, a maid that used to pick up after Donald Trump talking about that? We'll get to that coming up next on The Vegas Take.
Tina Trenner is back, and she's on 720 AM, 1015 FM, KDWN every Sunday at 12 p.m. She's sick of the nonsense and has something to say every Sunday at 12 p.m.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pod sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, taking Nevadans to Capitol Hill for the latest on the federal issues that matter most to you.
Eye on Washington, Saturday morning at 9:30 on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous, as in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Special report: Pelosi recommends impeachment. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says only Russia benefited when the president withheld foreign aid from Ukraine.
So sometimes people say, well, I don't know about Ukraine. I don't know that much about Ukraine. Well, our adversary in this is Russia. All roads lead to Putin. Understand that.
Correspondent Madhu Raju reports Democrats will present evidence for impeachment on Monday.
There'll be a hearing in the House Judiciary Committee on Monday where the staff counsels of the House Intelligence Committee and Judiciary Committee discuss findings as part of their own investigations. So we'll see this happening rather quickly in the House, where a vote could happen on impeachment before Christmas.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
If we're going to be competing, we need to be stronger. We would get a better agreement with China if we had the USMCA done. We would be in a stronger position. But the Speaker is more concerned about tearing the president down instead of building the country up.
I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KTON Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by In-N-Out Burger. Watch for slowing for a crash. Injuries sustained reported Durango, south of West Cliff. Police and fire with the scene. Expect slowing, possible lane restrictions. Another injury crash. This is going to be at Decatur at Lone Mountain Road. Expect slowing in the area there as well. An earlier crash reported Silverado Ranch at Eastern. Looks like that is near the clearing stage. In-N-Out Burger. Fresh fact, In-N-Out makes hamburger patties daily with fresh premium beef that's specially selected because fresh is what it's all about. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Shopping for a car? Centennial Toyota's got you covered. We've cut your shopping time in half. Introducing Centennial Toyota's Express Car Buying. Just go online to express.centennialtoyota.com. With our Express store, you can search all the cars, trucks, and SUVs in our inventory. That's over 800 new Toyotas and pre-owned vehicles from every brand. Or configure your dream car, and we'll find it for you. We make it easy to see our best pricing up front. Select your payment options. Get an instant cash offer for your trade-in. And ask questions to our online concierge. Complete the entire transaction from home in a matter of minutes. Then you can pick up the vehicle at the dealership or have it delivered directly to you. Your car will be ready to go, in and out in less than 30 minutes. It's that easy. Try Express Car Buying at express.centennialtoyota.com and come test drive all your favorite vehicles at Centennial Toyota, conveniently located on North US 95 and the 215 Beltway.
At Aaron's, we love the holiday spirit, the kindness, the giving, the sharing. For us, that spirit has no season. It's always there, and those doing good all year round. That's why we approve good people other stores won't. Your credit isn't the best? Okay. Need more time to pay? Let's work it out. Want flexible payment options? Sure. Lease to own top brands. Delivery is free. Because good people always deserve better. Aaron's. Easy, beautiful, affordable.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
We're facing an epidemic in our Las Vegas Valley like none we've ever seen. Men, women, and children are dying every day due to opioid addiction and opioid overdose. There is help available. WestCare has a triage center that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is 702-385-2090. Opioid addiction and opioid overdose. 702-385-2090. Please call today.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
She liked to eat jalapeno peppers and drink coffee and drink alcohol.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. Yeah, Hillary Clinton with her coughing issues. Nothing better for Tucker Carlson to do than to talk about that. But before we get to the news with John Schaefer, John, I do want to say I was very impressed with, and I enjoyed actually speaking with Brian Kilmeade. You know, there are some people on Fox News that I think, I don't want to say put on an act, but maybe they're a little bit more vibrant in their opinions. Maybe that's the wrong word. I'm searching for a word here. And then there are people that do radio, and I really like Brian's radio show. I think he does a very good radio show, but I do feel like on TV, he leans more to the right on Fox News. And then just speaking with him and speaking with Mark Levin, because we've had Mark Levin on the show before, these are very intelligent guys that are what I would consider reasonable when you get them in a certain situation. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you can tell it comes across. And I think that your show and his show are a lot alike because there's politics, but then there's other things that get talked about. So it's not all one thing for 3 hours.
One thing I appreciate about him, there's a lot of things I appreciate about him, but one thing I do is that it's not the same right-wing talking points on his radio show. And there are other shows that do that. He is not one of them. And he also takes phone calls from people that disagree with him. So that is why I do have respect for him, even though I don't always agree with everything he says. But anyway, that was a lot of fun having him on the show, and hopefully he comes back to Vegas. Hopefully he comes back to Vegas and he can use our studios again.
He said when he comes back, he would be in studio with us.
That would be great.
He gave us that promise. The thing about him is I think he's an entertainer. He's kind of like the Ryan Seacrest of politics with how out there he is, and I can appreciate that.
If I'm Brian Kilmeade, I would probably take that as a put down.
Right.
Because I think Brian Kilmeade has talent, and I think Ryan Seacrest just has good looks.
But Ryan Seacrest is all over. I mean, he's in radio, he's on TV. He's one of the hardest workers in entertainment. I think Brian Kilmeade's kind of on the same.
Well, Kilmeade is definitely a hard worker,
but in politics,
when you do a radio show and a TV show. By the way, Sean Hannity does the same thing. I don't know how the hell these people do it. I mean, Laura Ingraham used to do that, and then she dropped the radio. I don't know how they do it. I mean, we're talking what, John, 12, 14 hours a day? I mean, this is insane. And they do it every day. And they maintain, they don't look tired on TV.
Well, I think they work out. They have good diets. They probably drink 15 to 16
So what are you trying to say?
Coffee.
I could never work 14 hours.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Fine. That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
not with your diet.
Fair enough. All right, Mr. Schaefer. What is going on in the news?
Well, Las Vegas Metro Police are investigating 2 reports from airline pilots saying they were hit with lasers while flying over Las Vegas last night. The first was above Sahara and Easter, and the second above Sahara and Nellis. At least one of the incidents is believed to have been Christmas decorations that were shining up in the sky.
So that's happened before where people at sporting events have been ejected and arrested for doing stuff like that. My question is, for example, what if Air Force One is flying overhead? I don't want to give people any ideas, and a laser is pointed at like, how do you catch these people? That's what I don't understand.
I don't know.
How would you find somebody? Like, that's what I really don't understand. From a plane,
Air Force One, it flies so high, a laser could never touch it ever.
Well, what do you mean?
When it's landing.
When it's landing, or taking off.
I guess when it's landing, there'd be a chance.
And then it just carpet bombs everything around it. That's how you take care of the person pointing the laser.
You can definitely laser beam it when it's taking off and landing.
That's a $500 million airplane, Brian.
Well, it is. Yeah. It is, no question. A little more expensive than my old 04 Hyundai Elantra.
Moderately more expensive.
All right, John,
A Navy sailor at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii shot 3 civilians and killed 2 of them before taking his own life. Wednesday's shooting happened just days before thousands are scheduled to gather at the storied military base to mark the 78th anniversary of the Japanese bombing that launched the U.S. into World War II. The third victim is hospitalized. The sailor's been identified as 22-year-old G. Romero.
That is horrible. We really hope that they get through that. That is a terrible, again, heroes that serve this country honorably, and we hope they get through that okay.
Former U.S. Senator and Nevada Governor Richard Bryan endorsing Joe Biden for president, giving the former vice president the backing of one of the biggest names in the state's Democratic circles. Bryan said that Biden brings a thoughtful, steady hand and is the Democratic Party's best chance to defeat President Trump.
And guess one person who agrees with him? Mike Lavinati. He's also supporting Trump. I'm not there yet.
He also brings very hairy legs, and he likes to start confrontations with gangsters named Corn Pop.
There you go.
There you go. People from across the world arriving in the Las Vegas Valley for the National Finals Rodeo. It's the rodeo's 35th year here in Las Vegas. There are events taking place all over the city. provides a significant boost for Las Vegas in December, which is usually a slow month for the city. Fans will spend more than $100 million on food, drinks, and shopping while they are here.
For the next month, the Thomas and Mack Center will smell like manure. I will say this about these guys. I've spoken to many of them over the years. They are just the most friendly, friendliest, nicest people you can ever speak to. They're not great gamblers. I've taken a lot of money off of some of these rodeo fans.
But they love to gamble.
They're very bad poker players as a whole.
They're not good at it, but they have no problem being parted from their money.
Sure. I have never played poker against a guy or female or male that wore a cowboy hat that I didn't take money from. I have a very good record
except Doyle.
I never played poker against Doyle Brunson, but that's another story. Doyle cheated most of his life as a poker player. That's another story for another show. No, but they all hang out at South Point.
Yeah.
They'll buy you a drink. They'll talk to you about anything. It could be a rodeo superstar or it could be a fan. And by the way, the women are very hot. I will say that as well.
Yes,
but it's great for the economy. They're good people. They do
Apparently
a lot.
It's great for your economy too.
It's
when you're
great for my economy.
Against them, so there you go.
Wasn't poker made in Texas? That's why they call it Texas Hold'em.
I think it was actually made in Maine.
Oh, is that where it was?
Yeah.
Why do they call it Texas Hold'em then?
No, of course it was made in Texas, Brian.
I tell you.
Yes, obviously it was made in Texas.
Do you remember what Matt Damon said about rounders? He said the nicest people are the worst poker players. You have to be a scumbag. That's why I'm a really good poker player. These guys are the nicest guys in the world. They don't bluff. They're honest. And, poker's like telling a story and you have to lie.
Yeah.
And
I don't think you're a scumbag. I just think you're a smart poker player.
That's
right.
fine.
They're friendly and will be... Let me show you these and tell me what I should do. Are these 4 aces good? No, they're not. You should fold. Okay. Thanks, darling.
Yeah,
bless your heart.
Good poker is selling a narrative that you convince yourself of in your own mind, and it's also got some elements of chess in it.
There's nothing better for me than a guy that says, he's made $25,000 in his 3-year career in the rodeo, and he's broken 34 bones and risked his life, and then I just took $400 from him at the poker table. It just makes me feel good about myself.
His family doesn't eat
definitely
every
should,
day.
Brian.
No, definitely not. All right, John, we appreciate the news. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. When we come back, Donald Trump was caught on a hot mic. You might not be too surprised with what he said, but we'll talk about that. And Twitter is now exploding after Melania Trump rebukes is that the right rebukes a Stanford professor for a comment about Barron, her son. We'll talk about that when we come back. And Donald Trump's clothing habits. That's right. One of his maids is speaking out. She might be an illegal. We'll talk about that coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Hi, I'm Tia Claire Toomey, fittest woman on earth and 3-time CrossFit champion. I'm excited to introduce you to the most essential part of my daily health routine, Golly, the world's first and delicious apple cider vinegar gummy. Golly has revolutionized health with this product, allowing you to enjoy all the benefits of apple cider vinegar without the awful taste. Golly gives me a boost of energy to get to the gym and crush my workout. I take Golly every single day. It helps me with my weight loss, acid reflux, and digestion. And when I get those 3 p.m. cravings, Golly curbs my appetite. It's vegan, gluten-free, and organic, which gives it my final stamp of approval. I also love how Golly has heart. With every purchase, a child in needs gets a 6-month supply of vitamins from Vitamin Angels. Golly has changed the game for me, but it's not just for the fittest woman on earth. It's for everyone. Make a healthy change and visit Golly, that's GOLI.com/TEN to get 10% off and free shipping today.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777 or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
If you're up to your eyeballs in paper, inhibiting your vision and productivity, you may be suffering from shred head.
Clear
Clear your desk, clear your head, and clear your clutter with the Opportunity Village Paper Pros, trusted as one of Nevada's largest document destruction companies. We make getting organized safe, secure, and confidential. And with our convenient Las Vegas Valley walk-in shredding location, we make it easy, too. Good for your community, good for you. For more information, visit paperproslv.com. That's paperproslv.com.
I'm Ben Utek. I played high school, college, and pro football, helping my team win the 2006 championship. My career ended after I suffered my 5th concussion. More than 1 million athletes suffer a concussion each year. The American Academy of Neurology recommends athletes thought to have a concussion be immediately removed from play and assessed by a healthcare professional trained in concussion. This isn't just about sports, it's about your brain. When in doubt, sit it out. Learn more at aan.com/concussion. A message from the American Academy of Neurology.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
And he was so handsome. He was really handsome. Really handsome. Yeah, he looked like a Greek god.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro on a Thursday. Glad you could join us. By the way, coming up in hour number 3, it is our Dirty Dining segment with ABC 13's very own Darcy Spears. The restaurants you do not want to set foot in Las Vegas because you might get food poisoning and you might get sick. JD, you are on tap with everything. You are, I guess you could, in rhythm with everything we are doing as far as social media, our new website. So why don't you give some people a little bit of information on where they can find us and our YouTube streaming and all that stuff?
Well, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We were just accepted to iHeartRadio yesterday. We're Apple Podcasts, Spreaker. But we just, our new website, our finalized website, our final version of our website, www.thevegastake.com, was just released Monday night. And one of the what I would consider kind of a game-changing addition is that now we have hired writers, and they are writing articles and summarizing some of the segments that we've had, some of our important segments that we've had since the start of the show, and that will continue. You'll be seeing more actual segments with audio. You'll still have the audio and the video, but you'll also be able to get a summarized version of what we've said and our guests and the whole entire experience, of the segment itself.
Cool. So definitely check that out. And as he also mentioned, you could stream us live on YouTube at any point when we are live during our show on our YouTube page, thevegastake.com. So I want to talk a little bit about Donald Trump and illegals. As you know, Donald Trump has demonized illegals since he took office, even before he took office. These Mexicans, they're rapists, they're bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people. The building of the wall, so on and so forth. I can go on and on. The Muslim ban. So 2 housekeepers are taking on the president now, revealing that his company had employed a bunch of undocumented immigrants. And some of those actually worked for the president, are now speaking out, saying that in his closet, this one woman, her name is Diaz, she said that she would hang 6 sets of identical golf outfits, 6 white polo shirts, 6 pairs of beige pants, 6 neatly ironed pairs of boxer shorts. She would smear a dot of Trump's liquid face makeup on the back of her hand to make sure it hadn't dried out. That's a little strange for a man to be wearing makeup, but that's fine. There were 3 questions nearly every immigrant who worked for him was asked as Trump strolled the grounds of his resorts and golf clubs, inspecting their work. And by the way, this is a story that was put out by the Washington Post. She says your name, how much time you'd been there, and if you like it. Her name is Margarita Cruz, a housekeeper. This banter often ended with Trump pulling out 50 or 100 bills for tips. The Trump organization is not responding to requests for comment on this. And, it goes on and on with more details. Those who cooked and served Trump knew that he liked his cheeseburgers well done and his Diet Coke in small glass bottles with a plastic straw that no one could be seen touching. A little bit of OCD there from the Donald. But I guess he has no problem having unprotected sex with porn stars.
All
so
the
that's
great
okay.
ones, all the great ones have OCD, and they're just a little bit eccentric. That clearly is the case with Donald Trump.
Don't touch my straw for my Diet Coke.
Don't touch my... Yeah.
But I will whip it out and have unprotected sex with a porn star. That's quite all right.
And pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
6 figures.
It's expensive.
All day.
That's an expensive...
Multiple times.
It's an expensive lay. Trump loved Tic Tacs, this woman says, but not an arbitrary amount. He wanted in his bedroom bureau at all times 2 full containers of white Tic Tacs and 1 container that was half full. The same rule applied to the Bronx colors, brand face makeup from Switzerland that Trump slathered on.
Yeah.
2 full containers, 1 half full, even if it meant the housekeepers had to regularly bring new shirts from the pro shop because of the rust-colored stains on his collars. A special washing machine in the laundry room was reserved for his wife Melania Trump's clothing. Donald Trump liked Irish Spring Bar soap in the shower. His housekeepers quickly learned to throw out his soap, even if it had worn down to the tiniest sliver. He decided when he wanted something discarded, when that happened with clothes or newspapers, he would toss them on the floor. That's how he communicated with his housekeepers. Trump rarely shied away from his staff. He was particular about every aspect of his club's appearance, from the carpets to the chandeliers to the art on the walls. During his visits, he perpetually scanned for flaws, swiping a finger along a picture frame to check for dust, eyeing the shine on the crystal chandelier. One day, Morales, 47, stood outside washing the windows of the pro shop and the 4'11" Guatemalan woman couldn't reach the top portion of the window. I was jumping and jumping, she said, and I saw the guys inside were laughing. I thought, I don't like that. She sensed something behind her, and it turned to find Trump. He took the rag, and he started to clean. By the way, I could picture something like that happening. I really can. They've employed a lot of illegals. And I think that's something that's important. Look, the fact that, he throws everything on the floor and he puts a newspaper on the floor, and that's the signal for the housekeeper to throw things away, and he's really particular. Should that be a shock to anybody? Of course not. This guy's been pampered his whole life.
Now,
He's been extremely wealthy his whole life.
Now, do you think that he gets newspaper and he rolls it up into a ball, and then he kind of Gronkowski, spikes it onto the floor, and then that's how, or do you think he just kind of places it very gently? Like, how do you think that because how he throws this, or how he gets this newspaper or whatever trash he has onto the floor is very, very important in his actual intentions on how he wants, if he's trying to be dominating over his housekeeper. No, does he do it in an aggressive, demeaning, patronizing way, or is he nicer about it? How do you think he does that, Brian?
Here's the way I could respond to that, and I'll answer it this way. It would not be surprising if Donald Trump squatted and took a crap on the floor and then told the maids to pick it up. Does that answer your question?
You actually think he would do that?
Yeah, I think he's that horrible of a human being, and he's been pampered his whole life and probably never had to clean up after himself.
I do like the fact that he kind of has a rider. Like when you book a musician, they have what's called a rider, and you've heard about these crazy things. Well, some musicians, they want 57 Skittles, 34 are green, and 23 are yellow, and that's it. It's kind of the same thing with Donald Trump. He definitely has a rider, a presidential rider, or just a rider in general, personal rider.
But the point, he's got personal everybody. The point I'm trying to make is I don't think this man has really had to do anything for himself his whole life. Everybody, he has handlers, and everyone does everything for him. Donald Trump doesn't know what it's like to have lived paycheck to paycheck. Donald Trump doesn't know what it's like to have to drive your own car. Donald Trump doesn't know what it's like to get his own mail. Donald Trump doesn't know what it's like to do his own laundry, although I'm with him on that one. I don't do my own laundry either. But in all seriousness, this is a man that hasn't had to do anything his whole life. Everyone has done everything for him. And there haven't been people around him that have told him, no, Donald, you can't do that. No, Donald, that's inappropriate. You can't talk to people like that. No, Donald, you can't tell somebody.
So you blame his father and his mother.
No, Donald, you can't tell somebody you can't grab them by the you-know-what. You can't talk like that, Donald. That's not locker room talk. You can't talk like that. I think his father made him nuts. I think his father made him extremely insecure, and if it wasn't his father, somebody made him insecure.
You think his father made him spoiled?
Well, that's 100%. But JD, here's the thing.
I will tell you this, man. When I do laundry, it takes me 4 to 5 hours, and I just don't have that type of time. A lot of these things that you're describing are just very, very time consuming. And if you have the money to outsource them, in my opinion, you should do it. So I have no problem with that particular side of the conversation. And you're the exact same way. Do you want to spend 6 or 7 hours of your time when you could be doing? It's all about opportunity costs for me. At least that's my thought process.
I have done my laundry before,
and it's horrible. It's a horrible.
And
then you try to fold it, and how long does that take you? Then you have to put it on hangers.
6 or 7 hours.
Absolutely, yeah. If you've got 3 or 4 loads, and it takes you, and you can only put so much in a.
As a single man, you're telling me that it should take you 6 or 7 hours to do your laundry. Are you on crack?
If you have 3 or 4 loads, and you've got a couple of nice garments, and you want those to be ironed, it's a whole process. You have to put the laundry in the machine.
Are you
You have to
serious?
run it
Right?
for 45 minutes. Then you have to dry it.
Are you effing with me right now? Or are you being...
No, just listen. Then you have to fold it. Then you have to hang. I mean, it takes a lot of time.
For the record,
it's
you're not.
And then you have to. And then what are you doing for those 6 or 7? Like, what are you doing? Just sitting there?
For the record,
you're literally
hold on.
you're
Stop
stuck.
for a
You're
sec.
stuck
JD,
at home
JD,
while
stop.
this is happening.
All right, hold on for a sec. Stop for a sec. I have to ask you a serious question.
You've done this what, one time?
Hold on. Are you effing?
How many?
Will you let me ask you? Are you screwing with me right now?
I'm not screwing it. So how many times have you done your own laundry, Brian?
Hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times. Okay, we'll talk. How long did it take you to get?
I haven't always had a maid.
Three
I
loads.
haven't always had a girlfriend.
How long? Fine. How long did it take you to get 3 loads done? A mix of nice clothes and just underwear and
90
shirts,
minutes, an hour tops.
Wait.
Hour, 90 minutes tops. Hour and a half.
That includes folding and that includes hanging.
Do you have a Fisher Price dryer?
No,
I don't understand what's going on here. Do you have a fake dryer that you would give a 6-year-old child?
It takes 45 minutes.
Are you doing one shirt at a time?
It takes you 45 minutes to actually
7. You're on the record as saying you think it takes 7 hours to do your laundry.
To do 4 loads of laundry, absolutely.
Are you?
Yes.
You can't be serious.
I'm very serious.
You're not effing with me right now.
Why would I lie about that, Brian?
You're telling me
it is an absolute process, and I don't have that type of time. I'm a very busy person, and Donald Trump, his whole entire life, has been a very, very busy person. So I don't blame him for doing what he does.
I'm not saying I'm a normal human being.
And he could be totally on the left or totally on the right. It doesn't make a difference.
This is just my opinion, and I'm not saying I'm a normal person because I have some weird habits of my own, and that's fine. But to a normal person, a normal human being that is listening right now, you sound crazy. 7 hours to do a couple loads of laundry? Are you out of your mind?
I said 4 loads of laundry, Brian. Not a couple. 4 loads of laundry is going to take you 6 to 7 hours.
So 7 hours
to do it properly.
So you can't just throw it in there and then work on something else like while it's drying and washing. Like, what are you doing? Are you just staring? I picture you on a stool, staring next to the washer and dryer, looking at your watch saying, oh my God, this is just killing my day. I got to sit here for an hour.
Say I'm doing something. Then I have to get up and walk over there again. I have to get up probably 12 or 14 times during that process. Then I have to sit there and actually fold it. Then I have to get hangers and put them on the hangers individually.
God, you mean you got to fold your clothes?
I'm just saying, Brian, it takes a long time to do things like this. And for someone who's very, very busy, they don't have the time to do it. And if they can outsource it, they will.
Do you have a problem?
He's also employing people in the process, whether that's illegally or not. He's still employing people in the process. So again, I have no issue with it,
But you're one of those
Brian.
people that always complains about just putting gas in your car. Like, how many times in the last year and a half, be honest, have you just run out of gas because you just hate going to the gas station and pumping gas in your car, which takes the most 5 minutes?
That's never the case at all. But I've
What
run
do
out.
you mean you've run out of gas before?
No, I mean it's not because I hate pumping gas. I run out of gas.
You've told me you hate it.
Probably once in the last 18 months is my guess.
Okay, I'm just saying I've never heard anybody complain that much. And listen, I'm the laziest person on the planet. Don't get me wrong. I am so lazy. I mean, we could just talk about my habits for hours, but even I will admit it's not an all-day full-time job to do your laundry. It should not take 7 hours to do your laundry. That's all I'm saying. And I'm also not saying you have to fold it like professionals do in a mall somewhere. And some clothes you don't even have to hang. You don't have to hang your boxers, your socks. You don't have to hang all your T-shirts. I've just never heard anybody talk like that. That's all. 7 hours?
Hey, to do laundry right, it takes about an hour and a half per load, almost 2 hours.
Do you have a little OCD? Be honest.
No, I'm just telling you that's how long it takes. And I don't have that type of time to do that. And so, if again, for the third time, if I can outsource it, I absolutely will.
No, but that's not okay. Outsourcing is fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with hiring somebody to do your laundry.
No, you are. You're saying that Donald Trump has never had to do anything for himself his entire life, and I'm saying, well, maybe because he doesn't want to. Because it takes a lot of time to do things like that.
Or maybe because he's a spoiled brat that was
No, absolutely not.
Oh, really?
He wants to focus on different things than doing his laundry. I don't blame him for that. I do the exact same thing on a consistent basis.
You don't think Donald Trump is spoiled at all?
And I'm sure he's absent-minded. And so you're not going to, when you're focused on one thing, you're not thinking about something very, very, very micro like laundry. You're thinking of more macro-oriented projects. And I think the same way when it comes to things like that.
You don't think Donald Trump is spoiled in the least? You don't think anybody in his family is spoiled?
No, obviously he's been afforded a very, very luxurious lifestyle, which has allowed him to do whatever he wants to do. Of course he has.
Yeah.
But
so he's spoiled.
I'm not going to fault him, though, for outsourcing his laundry.
Here's what I will fault him for.
And things that take time.
Okay, here's what I will fault him for. And remind me never to give you my clothes to do laundry because it'll never get done. But
that's perfect.
But no, here's what I will fault him for. This is a man over there at his golf course that has hired a bunch of illegals. Okay? All he talks about is how he wants the illegals out of the country. So what a shocker He says one thing and then he does something else for own personal gain. So that's number one. So I absolutely will criticize him for that. I will also criticizing him for not having real life experience, not doing things on his own. And I'm not just talking about doing laundry.
You mean like buying an NFL team,
no.
buying a baseball team?
No, I'm not talking
being a
about
boxing
that.
promoter.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Starring in movies, hanging out with every celebrity you could ever think of, having your own TV show. The guy's had more experiences than 99.99999% of people in the world, Brian.
So you think that's regular life experience? You think that's working paycheck to paycheck and having to do your own chores and drive a car and do your own laundry and purchase your own
I'm
food
almost certain
and
that
cook your own food?
Donald Trump has driven a car. I'm sure he's
You're
cooked his
giving
own
him
food
credit
at some point.
Okay, so you equate that to his father giving him a $500 million company and purchasing a professional
company
sports
he
team.
started working for when he was 8 years old, and as he worked for more and more for the company, he was given more equity into the company, which is very, very par.
And then he was
for
given
a company like that.
And then he was handed the company at $500 million. So
I'll tell you who was handed the company was his sons Eric and Donald Donald Trump Jr. Biff, if you will. After he became president of the United States, they were actually handed. Donald Trump, he did work for his father from the age of 8 until about 30, and that's when he was able to get acquired or to get control ownership of the company.
We're certainly going to agree to disagree on that. I have zero respect for Donald Trump, and I've listed many reasons why. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, this is going to be a lot of fun. It is our weekly segment, Dirty Dining segment with Darcy Spears from ABC 13. She's going to tell you some of the latest restaurants that you do not want to go to because you might get sick. We'll be back with Darcy right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
Your home for Sean Hannity, KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Special report: Pelosi recommends impeachment. An historic announcement from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment. I commend our committee chairs and our members for their somber approach to actions which I wish the president had not made necessary.
Now a response from the president.
It's a hoax. It's a big fat hoax.
Correspondent Phil Mattingly is on Capitol Hill.
One of the difficulties House Democrats have had, at least behind the scenes over the course of the last couple of weeks, is on how big do you go? How wide a net do you cast as you draft these articles of impeachment? And there are political dynamics at play here. There are 2020 races that are at play here. And there are just the idea that some people don't believe they should go as far as others do.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
The Speaker gave a speech on national television to push forward her rushed and partisan impeachment.
Democrats say they'll present evidence on Monday. I'm Mike Moss. Speaker Pelosi says the House has no choice but to move forward on impeachment. More from correspondent Linda Kenyon.
At her weekly news conference, Pelosi followed up on her earlier announcement that the House will draft articles of impeachment. But a question from a reporter about whether she hates the president made her turn on her heels.
I resent you're using the word hate in a sentence that addresses me. I don't hate anyone.
It was clear the question made her angry.
So don't mess with me when it comes to words like that.
Some Republicans have suggested Democrats are moving to impeach the president simply because they don't like him.
President Trump asked the Supreme Court to block a subpoena for his financial documents, arguing that the House exceeded its authority when it ordered Trump's longtime accounting company, Mazars USA, to turn over his personal records. Justices already put a temporary freeze on the subpoena while they consider in the coming days and weeks whether to take up the appeal. The Dow is up 3 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Cox Business. An accident with injuries reported on Durango, south of West Cliff. Watch for slow and go in the area. Police and fire staged at the scene. No delays to report. I-15 is looking great. The resort corridor is light to moderate volume between the Spaghetti Bowl and Spring Mountain. No slowing at the Southern Beltway. No delays on the 95 east side or west side. Cox Business has reliable internet and voice solutions. Ask how you can get up to a $200 Cox Business Visa prepaid card when you switch. Call 1-800-297-2610 today. Card issued by MetaBank. Member FDIC. Terms and expiration apply. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
This holiday season, get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
Okay, grab a pen and a paper because we're going to lay it on you straight up. Everybody wants to know how much a loan from Dollar Loan Center really costs, and it's way less than most people think. Vegas, Reno, Carson City, Pahrump, Laughlin, Fernley. The DLC is everywhere. So check this out. Let's start with a loan of $500 and we'll do the math from there. A $500 loan at Dollar Loan Center costs $2.75 a day in interest. Again, a $500 loan will cost you $2.75 per day in interest. If you need it for a week, $19.25. That's it. No fees to apply, no penalty to pay early, nothing else. Critics want you to think you have to pay back 2, 3, 4 times what you borrow, and it's simply not true. Please do your own research.
Licensed by the Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Annual percentage rate of 199.99%. For additional cost information, call 866-550-4352. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Shopping for a car? Centennial Toyota's got you covered. We've cut your shopping time in half. Introducing Centennial Toyota's Express Car Buying. Just go online to express.centennialtoyota.com. With our Express store, you can search all the cars, trucks, and SUVs in our inventory. That's over 800 new Toyotas and pre-owned vehicles from every brand. Or configure your dream car, and we'll find it for you. We make it easy to see our best pricing up front. Select your payment options, get an instant cash offer for your trade-in, and ask questions to our online concierge. Complete the entire transaction from home in a matter of minutes. Then you can pick up the vehicle at the dealership or have it delivered directly to you. Your car will be ready to go, in and out in less than 30 minutes. It's that easy. Try Express Car Buying at express.centennialtoyota.com and come test drive all your favorite vehicles at Centennial Toyota, conveniently located on North US 95 and the 215 Beltway.
Amid Las Vegas's glitz and glamour lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans, our nation's heroes who return from war but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a hand up. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and donate any amount you can afford at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org. vvlv.org.
720 on the AM, 1015 FM. Yeah, now on FM. The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, hour number 3, coming up here in a little bit. A radio host saying something very racist in regards to Lamar Jackson. We'll talk about that. Scott Van Pelt reached out to me last night on Twitter. We'll explain what that's all about. It has something to do with UNLV basketball, believe it or not. And the juice is loose. He was out in the town last night. We'll let you know where he went, what he was doing. It's interesting. But joining us right now on the line, she does a fantastic job for ABC 13 with her Dirty Dining segments, and she joins us on the show right now. Where not to go, where not to eat. Darcy does a great job. Darcy Spears, how are you doing?
Thank you for having me back. I've missed you guys.
Yeah, it's been a little
Absolutely.
while. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was wonderful. I had probably the best home-cooked Thanksgiving meal that I can remember at my parents' house, and it just reminded me of the joys of cooking at home.
Is it a clean kitchen, though? I mean, do your parents have a clean, healthy kitchen? We won't see the health inspectors in there anytime soon, do they?
Not even a little bit.
All right,
No,
good.
They're just spick and span.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad you had a good holiday. Good to have you back here.
Thank
All
you.
right, so talk to me a little bit about Cafe No Fur. Apparently, you found some interesting stuff there over the course of the last week. What did you find, Darcy?
Well, this one stood out because you don't often see a food poisoning complaint that goes along with an inspection report that leads to a dirty dining. So, I mean, people get food poisoning and they complain about it, and which they need to do so the health district can go out and investigate. And I think one thing people need to understand when it comes to that is, you know, they can't always prove 100% exactly where it came from, how you got it, but what they do is they go into those restaurant kitchens and they look for risk factors that can that could potentially contribute to foodborne illness. And that tells them if those conditions exist in the kitchen, that whether it's likely or not that your food poisoning came from there. And as I said when I was doing my report last night, health inspectors found a petri dish of potential poisoning in the kitchen of Cafe No Fur, leading them to strongly suspect that the foodborne illness complaint tied directly back to that restaurant.
Ooh, I mean, and if someone does get food poisoning at a restaurant, I imagine you can sue and you can make some money.
That's entirely possible. But again, without that 100% definitive proof, I think the restaurant would actually have a pretty strong claim.
Yeah. I remember you said in regard to this place that they also had a deli slicer that hadn't been wiped down in a week. That's kind of disgusting.
Yeah. Now, granted, it's a vegan restaurant, so when you see a deli slicer, it's not slicing real meat.
Right.
But
tofu.
If the chef is telling the health inspector that the thing hasn't been wiped down in a week, and guys, the pictures of that thing were foul. It was completely coated in some kind of red food debris. I don't know what the food was, but it was gross.
Now, is it true that somebody over there said that they were blaming somebody who is autistic, an autistic worker, on some of this stuff? Is that true?
Well, the restaurant owner and manager explained to me and to the health district in a letter that the owner wrote that their cook is autistic. And they wanted to point out that when someone has that disorder, they can become very flustered with a lot of stimuli and a lot of input, and that when the health inspectors were firing off questions at him, he became completely overwhelmed, kind of unable to react and interact. And they wanted to explain that by way of kind of helping people to understand how and why he reacted the way he did to the 3 inspectors that came to investigate the food poisoning complaint and do the routine inspection.
That just is not a good look, right? When you got all this stuff going on in the kitchen, and then you say, "Well, we have an autistic worker, so let's pin it on him."
Exactly. To me, that's kind of a woe is me. We're the victims. We tried to be this pious company and hire this autistic worker, and now this that's a joke as far as I'm concerned.
I'll tell you what, Darcy, I'm glad you exposed them for that. If you're just joining us,
absolutely.
we're speaking with Darcy Spears from ABC 13 Dirty Dining segment. She does a fantastic job. All right, whenever you hear the word sewage in a restaurant, it probably leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It does for me. That's for sure.
Don't say sewage in mouth and taste. Don't
That's
put
true.
that in a sentence.
I can't help it though. Yeah, I know. I just lost my appetite.
That's the wrong
All right.
word.
Well, explain to me. There was some sort of sewage spill at this place called Marketon. It's on Tropicana and Eastern. What the hell is going on there?
Yeah, so Marketon it's a supermarket, basically. And they have a variety of different locations around town. I think they cater to the Hispanic community, but they operate just like any other large chain supermarket. And they have a deli department and a bakery department and a meat and fish department, and they prepare and sell cooked food there as well. And there was a sewage backup, and it was coming up through the floor, and you can't have that when you are preparing food.
Oh, no, you can't. Now, not to make a joke out of this whole thing, but I would think if there was any place that would have sewage backup, it would be Taco Bell. That's all. I'll just leave that one alone.
No comment.
But that's so. What's the end result here with this sewage stuff? I mean, like, what are they doing to fix it? Have they already fixed it? What's going on?
So yes, they actually, in a kudos to them, if you can have a kudos in a situation like this, they did self-close all of those areas of the supermarket, knowing that something like that constitutes an imminent health hazard. So they closed. They call the health district. The health district comes, inspects, says, "Yep, no good." And then, of course, they have to get a plumber out there. They have to do a pretty intensive cleaning and sanitizing, and then they get the health district to reinspect and allow them to reopen when all of that's done.
Our producer, Jason, has let me know that there is such a thing as Brown Friday extra calls to plumbers after Thanksgiving due to all the toilet usage. So I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. I bet I don't even want to. No, I don't want to go there.
Wait, did you say Brown Friday?
That is what our producer just told me. It's called Brown. I've never heard of that before.
That is not okay.
I'm not a huge fan of that at all.
No, neither am I. All right, Darcy, before we let you go, you do such a great job. Tell us when we can watch this on ABC 13. When is it airing? Tell us a little bit about that.
So Dirty Dining, as hopefully everybody knows by now, debuts every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. And then for those of you who are not night owls, me, It re-airs on Thursday, so it will be on tonight at 6:30 p.m.
Awesome.
At a very civilized time for everybody to watch. And, of course, it's already available online at ktnv.com. I've posted a link to it on my Facebook page and on my Twitter feed as well.
I wonder if there's ever been a situation where a couple or says, hey, honey, let's go to blah, blah, blah restaurant. Are you hungry? And then right before they go, they're watching your footage, and one of the restaurants they were going to go to, they watch, and they had to turn around or something. Like, I wonder if that – do you think that's ever happened?
It has to have happened.
Absolutely.
And in this case, actually, when we walked into Cafe Nofer, there was a family that had just sat down and hadn't ordered yet. They did not order. They got up. They walked out. All four of them. They were just looking at us with this kind of horrified look on their face. So that happened.
That's great. So you're telling me people are sitting down, they're ready to eat, and they see you walk in, and obviously they know who you are, and they're like, uh-oh, if we see her here, we better leave and go, we better go somewhere else.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the place smelled like bleach, so definitely they've been doing a lot of cleaning, but they hadn't had their reinspection yet, so they didn't have their A grade back yet.
Well, you know what? You could have saved that family a trip to the ER, so
That's
pat,
true.
pat yourself on the back for
the
that.
poor person who got food poisoning, the description, I didn't use all of the symptoms that he described on the air because, but he or she certainly seemed like they got pretty bad bout of it.
What is a customer's nightmare and a restaurant owner's nightmare when they see Darcy Spears walk through the doors?
But they knew we were coming. Like, I walked in and they were ready for us. They had it all figured out. They're like, yep, here comes Darcy Spears.
So what happens when you go to a restaurant, a restaurant that you actually want to eat at, and you're not, you just show up and you're planning on having a good meal. It's a restaurant that hasn't made your list. And
It's a good question.
You're there for your own person. I mean, have you ever had that happen where you actually sit down at a nice restaurant and someone shows up and goes, "Oh my God, it's Darcy Spears," but they're actually incorrect as far as why you're there?
It's a good
They're
question.
usually glad, and most of the time people come up to me, like they'll actually stop at my table and say, if you're eating here, I know it's safe. Good.
That's true. That would make me feel more comfortable. Darcy, you really do a great job over there at ABC 13, and I always appreciate it when you join us every week. Thanks so much. Look forward to chatting up with you next week.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right,
Thanks a lot, Darcy.
There you go. It's Darcy Spears from ABC 13. Her Dirty Dining segment airing Wednesday, so check it out.
That segment could literally save lives.
It could.
It could.
I mean,
sewage backup.
We are saving lives on this show, and we are clearly making maids money that do laundry. There's no question about that either. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, this is an interesting one, JD, because a lot of people with my bald face have called me Scott Van Pelt before. They say, wow, you look exactly like Scott Van Pelt. Well, guess what? We're watching the UNLV game last night, and Scott Van Pelt tweeted at me. It has something to do with UNLV basketball. It's actually an interesting story. We'll get to that when we come back. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for The Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10, here on the new 101.5 FM and 720 AM, KDON.
They say the holidays are the most stressful time of the year, but not for me, man. I love the holidays. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress. But if the holidays have you feeling a bit funky, good news. At our Best Mattress holiday sale, save hundreds on all our best brands: Serta, Sealy, Beautyrest, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic. And if you're racking your brain for a gift idea, bundle and save 25% on Pure Care bedding essentials. Plus, get up to 72 months, no interest financing. Best Mattress. Sleep easy, friends.
Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, taking Nevadans to Capitol Hill for the latest on the federal issues that matter most to you.
Eye on Washington, Saturday morning at 9:30 on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Tina Trenner is back, and she's on 720 AM, 101.5 FM, KDWN every Sunday at 12 p.m. She's sick of the nonsense and has something to say every Sunday at 12 p.m.
V is for victory.
except on Saturdays when V is for veterans. That's Veterans Talk, The Forgotten Promise. Join us every Saturday from noon to 1.
Veterans Talk every Saturday at noon on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness, irresponsible,
chaos,
police,
devastation,
injury,
tears, death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
I thought I'd come on and cough some more.
All right, welcome back. The Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. I'm going to have to listen to that Hillary Clinton interview with Howard Stern again because I thought it was that good. I really did. Anyway, welcome back to the show. So yesterday, we've been talking a lot about UNLV, by the way, and some of the ridiculous articles that have been written about the UNLV football program over the last few weeks. It's just beyond me. Ed Graney from the Review Journal, who said that Tony Sanchez did everything right but win. Ray Brewer from the Las Vegas Sun, who said what he did here was nothing short of phenomenal and don't let the 19-40 record fool you. So we've talked a lot about that. We haven't done a lot about UNLV basketball because, everything has been happening with the football program, right? And the basketball team 3-6, they've lost games they shouldn't have lost. They're not very good. They're a middle of the road, maybe middle to bottom Mountain West Conference team, and they had a road game yesterday against Fresno State. And I said on the air yesterday that I wouldn't have been surprised if UNLV won the game because Fresno is awful. They are just terrible. The spread was 4.5. So it was a horribly played game. And you say to yourself, well, the game went to double OT, Brian. That's a great game. A game could be competitive and still be a bad game. These were two bad basketball teams. I think they scored a combined total of like 10 points through the first 10 minutes of the game. It was that bad. It was like watching paint dry. The offense was awful on both sides. And again, Fresno is a really bad team. And UNLV, hate to say it, is not a good basketball team either. They're not very good. They're not going to make postseason this year. They're just not. So I'm watching the game, and it was a game of mistakes, right? It was a game of turnovers and missed shots, missed opportunities. UNLV ended up winning in double overtime. So, yes, a win is a win. A win on the road in the Mountain West Conference is good. That's a positive. They finally won a game in overtime. So that's a good thing, but it was a bad game, and it's not something that you should really celebrate. It's not like they beat San Diego State on the road or Utah State on the road or even a team like a Boise State or a New Mexico on the road. No, this was a really bad Fresno team. So watching SportsCenter last night after the game, and this game actually, I believe, it was on AT&T, Sportsnet. And then we tune over to ESPN SportsCenter right after this UNLV game, and Scott Van Pelt's doing UNLV highlights. That's not something that he does very often, but he was doing the highlights just because it was a double overtime game. So he's doing the highlights, and he's being kind of quiet, and he's not being very enthusiastic, and he's being kind of sarcastic when he's doing the highlights. And then when the highlights are over, it's just a shot of Scott Van Pelt. He throws his scripts in the air, and then after he throws his scripts in the air, he says, "My apologies, America." So I interpreted that, and the guy, my friend who I was watching the game with, interpreted it the same way, that he was mocking mocking the game, because it was a horrible game. It was just horrible. Turnovers and missed shots and missed opportunities. It was just really bad basketball. So I interpreted that as, oh my God, Van Pelt is insulting the UNLV basketball program. That's not a good look. So I know I wasn't the only one that felt that way. There were others on Twitter that were saying the same thing. So I went to social media on my Twitter page. I'm Brian Shapiro, very original there. And I said this on Twitter last night after I saw that with Scott Van Pelt. I said, not a good look for UNLV when Scott Van Pelt mocks your program on ESPN. And within minutes, Scott Van Pelt responded to my Twitter. And here was his immediate response. He said, "Not what happened. I didn't have the information I needed to do the highlight correctly. I apologized for messing it up." That was his response, and that's what he said. So I responded in kind. I said, yeah, that makes sense. I understand that. Certainly if you watch the game, you would agree that, it would have made sense, my interpretation of what you just said.
Right.
So he was kind of saying, no, I didn't do that. It certainly sounded like he was, but I'm certainly also going to take his word for it. And I think Scott Van Pelt is really good at what he does.
That's a good save by him. Because considering how bad that game was and saying, hey, sorry, America, for having to watch this crap is basically what you thought.
That's how I interpreted
I know.
it.
And I'm sure a lot of people thought the same thing that you did, and that's why he responded. But I'm actually surprised he responded considering you just started this Twitter account. You don't have a major following yet.
No, I just opened up personal Twitter a few months ago,
but
I haven't been very active on it.
That being said, and this has not been announced yet, but we actually have one of Scott Van Pelt's coworkers coming on the show next week.
Yeah, it has been announced. We have Kenny Mayne, former UNLV quarterback, who is easily one of the most recognizable sportscasters of my generation. And he was here actually a few weeks ago, and I worked with him briefly at ESPN when I was in college. He's a great guy. He's extremely funny. Like, people don't realize how funny Kenny Mayne is. He's going to be joining us on the show next week. Obviously, we're going to be talking to him about UNLV football. And, gosh, there's a lot of other things in sports we'll get to with him. But pretty cool that he was a former UNLV quarterback here. But speaking of UNLV quarterbacks, since we are on the subject of UNLV, this is going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. We know what's taken place with the UNLV football program and the firing of Tony Sanchez. And great guy that we're going to have in studio tomorrow. He is the last UNLV quarterback to get UNLV to a bowl game, and he also happens to be the color commentator for UNLV football. Caleb Herring will be joining us in studio. We are going to have some disagreements because Caleb's take is that he's more of, Sanchez did a lot for the program. And, of course, my take is, no, I don't think he did do a lot. Besides the facilities, what else has he done? So, we're going to have a disagreement. We're going to have a very respectful but a good, solid debate. I certainly respect Caleb
your
for his career.
take is going to be, he definitely did a lot for the program, but he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough, and he didn't do what he needed to do, which was consistently win games. And, again, this guy was he was the high school coach at Bishop Gorman High School, which had some of the has a tens if not 20 NFL players come from it, but he was not able to bring anybody from Bishop Gorman, which and the assumption was he would have ties to that school. He was not able to bring anybody, those higher ranked recruits, to UNLV, which was the expectation. That's why you hire a coach like that who doesn't have the in-game experience at that level that Tony Sanchez did not have.
I put out a funny tweet yesterday. At least I thought it was funny. I made myself chuckle. I said a UNLV insider, in quotation marks, has said that Thad Matta will be the next coach of the UNLV football team, because if you recall, there were some clowns.
And that was actually my 2-year-old daughter, Meredith.
Was it really?
Meredith was the insider that Brian's referring to.
She probably would do a better job than some of the so-called UNLV insiders.
She's very, very well tied in.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I said that is because if you recall, when they were looking for a new basketball coach, there were a bunch of morons that said they had inside information that Thad Matta was going to be the next coach. Look, there were talks. I know for a fact 100% that UNLV did have one conversation with Rick Pitino, and I also know some of the other coaches that they were interested in, which were young, up-and-coming guys, like the TJ Otzelbergers, but I didn't know for sure who they were going to hire. I had no idea. I put up some stuff like odds on what my opinion, without any sources telling me, on who I think would be the favorite to be the next coach, but I didn't know. The only thing I knew 100% was the night before they fired Marvin Menzies. I got information from a true insider, a very good source, who told me Menzies is going to be fired tomorrow. I go on social media and I type that out, and then I'm attacked for it.
People were not very happy about that,
no,
Brian. We broke the story before anybody else did, and that was, it wasn't expected.
Yeah, exactly. Word got out pretty quickly after our tweet came out, and but I have no idea who Francois is going to hire this next football coach. I have no clue. I got to tell you something. They better not pay the coach the most in the Mountain West Conference like they're doing with TJ Otzelberger. That's a mistake. They are bleeding money right now. The basketball program is losing a lot of money. The football program is losing a lot of money. I don't know why they're paying TJ Otzelberger $1.1 million a year. It makes absolutely no sense.
And it looks like Allegiant Stadium may not want to host a couple of UNLV's first games.
I saw that
in 2020.
Well, I can't say I blame them.
Which could be a real issue.
I can't say I blame them. How many fans? I don't care what coach you hire.
Why would you want to come out of the chute, lame like that?
Yeah, they're not. They're going to have what, 5, 10 tops.
If they're playing a questionable opponent, not like a California or even a Mountain West opponent. Yeah, if it's like an Abilene Christian or a Jackson State or Southwest Missouri, an opponent like that, yeah, you're going to have 5,000 to 7,000 people at the max,
and that's terrible,
most likely,
and that's embarrassing.
It's literally embarrassing.
So let me ask you
on
a
a
question.
national level.
Do you think that there is a possibility that the UNLV football team will play some games at Sam Boyd Stadium next year?
I think there's actually a strong I would put it at probably 75%. Yes,
really.
I would at this point. Yeah,
wouldn't that be embarrassing though for UNLV?
Unless there's a home run hire. Clay Helton's no longer that's no longer the case. Unless they can hire Chris Peterson and he comes out of the gates just firing.
Guy knows the Mountain West.
I mean, and
he knows the Mountain West.
Well, the hype has to be strong.
Yeah.
In order for and ticket sales have the expectation for ticket sales have. You got to realize this is a $1.2 billion stadium. What did Sam Boyd cost to build? $5 million, $10 million. I mean, this is 100 times the investment.
The problem is they don't. Besides coaching, they don't have the players. Is Oblad the guy that is going to get you to a bowl game? I don't think so. He got a lot better from the start to the end of the season. I don't think he's that quarterback that can win you 6 or 7 games. And I don't know what's happening with Armani Rogers, but the bottom line is when a guy like an Ed Graney says they did everything but win, that you're trying to say that they did an A-plus job recruiting, and that's just not the case. They didn't do a good job recruiting. They didn't do a good job bringing fans into the stadium. And I don't just blame Tony Sanchez for that. I blame the athletic department. They have not done a good job bringing in students and bringing in fans, and that is just the bottom line.
Well,
we got to take a break, but we will talk with Caleb Herring tomorrow. He'll be in for an hour tomorrow, and we're going to discuss that with him. We'll have plenty more time to discuss it. But coming up next, this is going to be, I guess you could say this is a controversial to some extent. What does a 49ers radio analyst have in common with Rush Limbaugh? Well, it has to do with the color of a football player's skin, a quarterback. There is a broadcaster that does 49ers games that has been suspended for something controversial and something, in my personal opinion, that I would call racist. So we're going to talk about this coming up, and we're going to get your thoughts on it. Do you think that this gentleman, what he said was racist, and do you think he deserved to be suspended? We'll get to that coming up next in regards to Lamar Jackson. You are listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDAWN.
Special report, Pelosi recommends impeachment. Shortly after she announced the House would write articles of impeachment against President Trump, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was asked if she hated the president.
And as a Catholic, I resent your using the word hate in a sentence that addresses me. I don't hate anyone. I was raised in a way that is a heart full of love, and always prayed for the president. And I still pray for the president. I pray for the president all the time. So don't mess with me when it comes to words like that.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell accuses Democrats of being single-minded about impeachment.
We've argued that American families deserve better than this partisan paralysis, where Democrats literally obsess over impeachment and obstruct everything else.
Trump says he does not believe Pelosi's claim that she prays for him and says Democrats are impeaching him over nothing. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDAWN Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Cox Business. Watch for slowing for the accident on Decatur at Lone Mountain Road in North Las Vegas. Injury sustained in another crash on Decatur at Elkhorn. And the crash on Durango south of West Cliff. Police and fire were the scene. That one should be in the clearing stage. Meanwhile, a fender bender non-injury accident reported Rainbow Boulevard at Vegas Drive. Cox Business has reliable internet and voice solutions. Ask how you can get up to a $200 Cox Business Visa prepaid card when you switch. Call 1-800-297-2610 today. Card issued by MetaBank. Member FDIC. Terms and expiration apply. John Michaels from the KDAWN Traffic Center.
Your dental benefits may expire soon, and now's the perfect time to use them before they do. AQ Dental Services has the experience and on-site lab to help make your smile reflect a new and improved you. AQ Dental has an on-site tooth designer, 3D scanner, and they can craft the smile of your dreams. Make an appointment today at 702-565-6000. If you have a problem with your teeth and you don't know what to do, pick up the phone and call AQ. 702-565-6000. 702-565-6000. Or visit AQDentureService.com.
Thank you, Southern Nevada, for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
Thank you.
When you wake up and before you go to bed.
Thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
This is Lorraine Hunt Bono, inviting you to tune in for Breaking Bread with Bono. Join my husband, Dennis Bono, as celebrities share with him their intimate and humorous stories. Saturdays, 5 to 6 p.m., right here on KDAWN.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this magic music, which will inspire the perfect hire to begin clog dancing. Okay, there's no magic music, but skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire and try skills tests for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Does your child love math? Do they just love math so much that once they finish their homework, they want to work on extra math problems just for fun? Anyone? If you answered no, then you are not alone. While your child may not think math is important for their future, we know better. That's because Infinity the Math Institute offers the best math tutors in Las Vegas, produces the best results at the best prices for kids of all ages. Infinity the Math Institute does it all. Does your child need prep for the SATs? Right now, SAT preparation classes in November are just $15. Fractions, algebra, geometry, decimals, you name it. Plus, Infinity offers homeschool programs, free seminars for parents and students. And whether your child is transitioning from elementary school to middle school to high school, or preparing for college, Infinity can help. Classes are filling up. Call us now to find out more. 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. You want the best results for your child? One call to Infinity can have a huge impact on your child's future. Call now. 768-1777. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
So while the president can name his son Barron, he can't make him a Baron.
Did not know that.
All right, welcome back. And this is the Vegas Take Sharp and Shapiro. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. That was in the testimony yesterday. Your son Barron, don't make him a Baron. I thought that was a little bit inappropriate. But anyway, moving on to politics and sports, how they transcend. And if you recall, it was years ago where Rush Limbaugh was I guess you could call him a sports NFL analyst on ESPN, and he was making it was the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback back in the day, and I'm forgetting his name for whatever reason, but Rush Limbaugh said some disparaging things about him, and he made some disparaging.
No, Donovan McNabb.
Yes, it was Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
Thank you. And he was making generalizations about African-American quarterbacks. There's a reason why there's not that many African-Americans that are quarterbacks in the NFL, and he was talking about intelligence and IQ. They were just absurd remarks, and I was glad
Yeah.
that ESPN decided to fire that fatso. I think he's still doing fine for himself, but I mean, they were just
he definitely makes $80 million a year.
They were blatantly
without endorsements.
They were blatantly racist comments. You can't say something dumb like that. It was just blatantly racist. So now we have a 49ers analyst. His name is Tim Ryan. So he goes on his show, and here's what he said in regards to Lamar Jackson. Have a listen to this.
When he's his dark skin color with a dark football with a dark uniform, you could not see that thing. I mean, you literally could not see when he was in and out of the mesh point, and and that's going to mean, and you're a half step slow on.
Okay, Tim, you are a complete moron. Okay, that is a racist statement. Have you ever heard an analyst talk about baseball and about hiding the baseball, and it's tough to see the baseball because the pitcher is white? That's just a dumb thing to say. Okay, there's a reason why Lamar Jackson is so successful, and he's having
Actually,
such
a lot of pitchers do that on purpose, Brian.
Yeah,
in their delivery, they like Zach Greinke, for example.
But
who is
stop it with the
Caucasian.
skin color. It doesn't make any sense.
He's known to hide his delivery point, and it makes it harder to find his pitches.
So what are you trying to say? You're saying that you've heard an African-American say he does a really good job hiding the baseball because he's white?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that does happen in baseball all the time.
It happens in football. People hide the ball.
It happens on purpose. There's a reason for it.
People hide the ball. Why do we have to talk about the color of their skin?
It's part of game planning. And actually, I don't.
So you think that's why Lamar Jackson is having why he's having such success because he's black?
Of course not. I think he's successful because he's an outstanding athlete. He's also a very, very cerebral quarterback who wants to be a quarterback first, but when he has to run, he chooses to run.
And he hides the football. I get it, but why do we have to talk about his race? It's stupid.
But I do agree that if you have a purple jersey and dark skin and a football, it's going to be hard to decipher.
So you're defending his comments.
I'm just saying it's relatively factual. I think.
So
it would be harder to see.
But it sounds like you're defending his comments.
I'm not defending his comments. I'm just saying there's some fact to it.
So you think when we talk about Lamar Jackson,
but I don't think that's any like relatively decent sized percentage as to why he's a successful quarterback.
So why bring it up then? That's what we're talking about. This guy's an analyst. He's analyzing Lamar Jackson, and he brings up the fact that because he's black, he hides the football because he's black. It's a stupid thing to say.
He was trying to make an excuse as to why they lost that game against the Ravens.
Well, I don't care. You can make an excuse without saying something racist. Listen, we'll take some calls on this Maybe you agree with JD. Maybe you don't think it's racist. Why on earth would you bring up the color of one's skin and say, well, it's really difficult to see the football because he's black? That's absurd.
I'm
let me
not
give
saying,
up the phone
I'm
line.
not saying it's really difficult, but I do believe that it's probably a little more difficult because of the color combination with the jersey and his skin color.
First of all,
and the football
that's
itself.
never even entered my mind. The fact that he would enter somebody's mind and they would
no,
say
yeah,
it on the radio
it's
is
not,
ridiculous.
It's not something I would think about at all.
It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
I think that he's successful because he runs a 4.32 40. He is extremely
It's
intelligent.
got nothing to do with the color of his skin.
He has great moves in the pocket. I mean, he's
We
very,
agree on
he's
that.
very, very accurate.
We agree on that.
I mean,
Yes.
he wants to win. He's very, very passionate. He's probably a generational talent.
Let me open up the phone lines on this. What do you guys think? Do you think that this radio analyst Tim Ryan, who I think is a moron, who said something racist and he deserved to be suspended, he should be lucky he has a job? Do you agree with me? Do you think it was racist to talk about Lamar Jackson and say, well, difficult to find the football when he's running with the ball because he's black? Or do you kind of agree with JD a little bit in that, well, there's some truth to it, and what he said is just fine? Give us a call, 257-5396. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of this discussion. I'm interested what you guys think out there. 702-257-5396. Why don't we start off with James? James, thanks for calling in. What do you think about this?
Hey, what's up, James?
Hey, what's going on? That's great topic here. I love the radio show. I always cringe anytime I hear someone say, "You can't say that," and it makes me, someone who wouldn't say that, stand up for someone who says that. As someone who isn't white, I hate when people say, "Don't say that."
Well, can I ask you something, James? I respect your opinion. You can say it. Maybe, but here's the thing. You have to be able to deal with the repercussions in the workplace on a radio show or TV if you do say something like that. Look, you can go on the sidewalk and say whatever you want, but if you're going to talk about Lamar Jackson and the fact that he's black and that's why it's more difficult for people to find the football, I think you have to be able to deal with the repercussions of it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I completely understand what you're saying, but from my point of view, I mean, we live in a society where words are almost equivalent to physical action. That what you said physically harmed me emotionally, and I feel like people just really need to grow up. I think you can say whatever you want to me, and I've been called every name in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any problem with you. I would rather you say that and be honest with me, and I would actually respect you more than to be one of these people who you feel like is always just.
Well, I agree.
catering,
James, listen, I agree with you. And by the way, thank you for the phone call. It's kind of like that back east mentality. And this is where I agree with you. People in New York or in Connecticut, where I grew up, they're kind of in your face. I'm going to say whatever I want
all the time,
and you're going to have to deal with it. But this is who I am.
And that's
Take it or leave it.
And that's Donald Trump.
And then
there's
I'm not talking. I don't want to talk about Donald Trump now, but because then you're going to get me angry.
No, but that's him.
But people on the West Coast, and again, I'm generalizing here, but I think the attitude on the West Coast is a little bit more phony. I think people are afraid to actually be who they are and say who they are.
Well, I think they like to make themselves victims and profit or get something out of it, or hurt someone else in the process. And I think that's total BS.
Here's where I agree with that caller. Yes, I would rather have somebody say who they are and be honest. I can't tell you how many members of the media in this town alone have said something nice to my face or have always been nice to me, and then I heard they're trashing me. You know what? That happened to me at a Knights game. I'll tell this story real quick. You want to talk about phony people? There were several people at a Knights game that were telling one of the people, I was at another station at the time, that were telling members of the media that I didn't deserve a credential. And the reason why I didn't deserve a credential, because I wasn't on 15 hours a week. I wasn't on every day several years back. I addressed all those people. I confronted all those people. And people that are phony, that are nice to your face and do stuff like that, are very insecure with their own lives. 257-5396. We're talking about 49ers suspending radio analyst Tim Ryan for the Lamar Jackson comments. Those comments where he said Lamar Jackson is black, and that's why it makes it more difficult for people to see the football when he's running with the football. Taking your calls. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Hey, man, how you doing, man? Hey,
Good.
JD, sometimes I don't know about you, man. You try to come off like you rational, but, man, I tell you, man, I'm concerned about you. But in the meantime,
so am I.
The football is no way near the color of the man's skin.
Even if it was, Mike.
No, and again, Mike, I'm not. Here's the issue with what this guy is trying to. he's trying to diminish Lamar Jackson's ability and say, oh, here's the reason why we lost this game is because of this. I'm just saying there is a little bit of truth to the fact that having a black jersey and dark skin and we'll call it a burgundy football it's kind of a camouflage effect. But I'm not diminishing Lamar Jackson's ability, and I'm not making an excuse as to why they lost it. That's what that guy is doing.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Tim Ryan, he actually thought about that before he made that statement, and it's just silly, man.
Unnecessary is the word I would use, and borderline racist.
I don't want to go as far as say racist, but I'm saying the fact that he actually had to think about that, and before he actually made the statement, it's just.
If an African American, Mike, I agree with you. If an African American and for example, and by the way, thank you for the call, Mike. Always
good call, Mike.
Always good to hear from you. If Stephen A. Smith went on the air and said, boy, back in the day, I don't know. I'm just thinking of a pitcher. That Curt Schilling, the only reason, the reason why he's so successful in hiding the baseball is because he's so white. I would find that to be racist. That's why I find this comment racist.
Or if Donald Trump was crossing somebody over and considering how orange he is with the orange basketball, there was a camouflage effect there. Would that be racist?
That's completely different. And you are right about one thing, though. Donald Trump is orange. 257-53. I would mistake him for an actual orange.
I'd like to see his crossover. I bet it's pretty solid.
257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Carol. Carol, you're next. What do you think about this? Oh, we lost Carol.
Yeah, fair enough.
I had the little stars there. I was supposed to go to Carol next. 702. Carol, call back. 257-5396, because we would like a female's perspective on this. Let's go to Jerry. Jerry, what do you make of this?
What's up, Jerry?
Hi, boys. I didn't hear the comment. I didn't see the comment, but it could have been innocent. But is that any worse than old Howard Cosell calling Earl Campbell a monkey on Monday Night Football?
Well, obviously that was way over the line.
Much more egregious.
And that was more.
But even so, in Howard Cosell's defense, I think he was just drunk. But
No, I don't.
He was just an old drunk.
I never use. Well, that's where we disagree, Jerry.
If you're drunk, it's okay. It's been proven.
Jerry, here's where I disagree with you. I don't think if you're drunk, that's an excuse. In fact, and by the way, I appreciate the call. Most people would agree with me on this. I think that when you're drunk, sometimes your true colors come out. Ask Mel Gibson how that turned out for him. I think if you're a racist and you're drunk, usually that racist person comes out. I think if you're usually a kind, gentle person, sometimes when you drink, you're a quiet drunk, you're a loving drunk. And I think a lot of people out there that are mean drunks and a lot of people out there, the angry drunks of the world, they show their character. So, no, I don't think being drunk is an excuse for what Howard Cosell said. And I don't think there's any excuse for this guy, Tim Ryan, talking about Lamar Jackson on a radio show, somehow entering his mind the color of Lamar Jackson's skin and saying because of that, it's easier for him to hide the football. This guy is a moron.
Well, the problem with it is that he is diminishing Lamar Jackson's actual ability and why he won that game, but he's also kind of throwing a backhanded insult in the process. And that's the issue with what Tim Ryan did.
To me, it's not defensible. The number to call, 257-5396. Again, the number 702-257-5396. Let's go to Marge. Marge, what do you make of this?
What's up, Marge?
Hi, boys. The issue that I see here is I think there are some other players that played this game that are also black.
Yeah, last I checked, you're right. Yes.
And the same analogy is, so for white players, if the sun is really bright out, then you can't see them either.
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous. And you're right. I mean, people's true colors come out when they're a little bit more relaxed and they're either on drugs or some alcohol has entered their system.
Right.
And for someone who's an experienced speaker on a show, what are they thinking? Or maybe he was just tired and he wasn't thinking properly. But something was going on.
I certainly can't speak for that, but I know there are plenty of times where I'm tired, and there are plenty of times where I'm not feeling well. I don't think it's ever an excuse to say something racist on a show,
especially in a city like San Francisco.
Yeah,
exactly. Maybe in I don't know, Birmingham, Alabama, but not in San Francisco. That's a questionable market to make a statement like that.
I just think it's a ridiculous comment. It was a stupid thing that he said. I'm okay with him being suspended, and I also would make the argument you could say that what he said is worse than this longtime NHL broadcaster Cherry that lost his job. So Marge, always good to hear from you, Marge. We appreciate the phone call. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Marge.
257-5396 is the number to call. Again, that number 257-5396. Let's go to Sean. Sean, you are next on the Vegas Take. What do you make of all this?
What's up, Sean?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I just wanted to make a comment on the Lamar Jackson thing. That's completely ridiculous. I played Division I football. I was a free safety. You don't look at the ball. You're reading your keys. You're reading players. The ball, who has the ball, or if you can see it or not. You're not even really supposed to be looking at the ball.
Right.
For him to say that is that's crazy.
Do you think it's racist, Sean? Because I think it is borderline racist.
Oh, I think it's racist. Like JD was saying, he's making an excuse to diminish his ability, and that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
JD, what would you say to that? Okay, Sean, hang on the line for a second. JD, go ahead.
I totally agree with that, but I do think that in an RPO, when you've got a running offense like the Ravens have with great offensive line, that you do have to kind of follow the ball. But he shouldn't have brought that up first. Because again, the reason they lost that game is because Lamar Jackson is an unbelievable athlete, and there's a number of reasons for that. But creating that as kind of a backhanded insult as to why we lost the game because of this, which is the way he presented it was just very, very questionable.
Sean, are you an African American? If you don't mind me asking.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're the perfect person to ask this question to. Then, as an African American, if you were sitting down at the table with Tim Ryan right now, and you had a chance to talk to him, as a man who played football, and you said, I'm sorry, college football, you played.
Yeah, I played college football.
Okay.
I played a little semi-pro as well.
Okay, so as a guy that played football at a very high level, sitting next to this guy Tim Ryan, what would you say to him?
I'll just say that's ridiculous. And how can you even do you know the sport? What are you talking about? Like you can't see the football. Like, come on. Like if you're looking for the football as a defensive player, you haven't studied your playbook. You don't know your keys. If you're looking for the ball, you're already lost. You're already out of the play.
Sean, you already sound like you might know a little bit more about football than Tony Sanchez. Are you going to be putting in your resume for the Sean, you should put your name in the hat for the UNLV football job. I would definitely support you.
Sean, last question. How do you defend an RPO then with a quarterback like Jackson?
Like a running offense like that?
Yeah.
You need somebody to key Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's hard for one guy. I mean, he's like you said, he runs a 4.3 240. It's hard to put one guy on an assignment with that type of athleticism. Yeah. I mean, unless he's freaking Sean Taylor from back in the day,
right.
I mean, you're not going to be able to guard him. You're going to have to spy him with one guy, and maybe you spy him with a cornerback or maybe even a defensive lineman. So you need. He's just a hybrid player. He's a video game player. Like he's a generational talent. You can't really. I mean, saying that his skin color has him hiding the ball. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree, Sean, and that's what we're talking about. And I appreciate your phone call and thank you for your perspective.
Thanks a lot, Sean.
Yeah, I was serious about that. He should put his name in the hat for the UNLV football coaching job. All right, I want to play this audio again. If you just missed it, we're talking about 49ers suspending radio analyst Tim Ryan for these comments about Lamar Jackson. Have a listen to this.
When his dark skin color with a dark football with a dark uniform, you could not see that thing. I mean, you literally could not see when he was in and out of the mesh point, and and that's going to mean, and you're a half step slow on.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not about seeing, but right now we can't hear Tim Ryan on the radio because he was suspended for those comments. We're taking your phone calls on that, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. We just had a former college football player saying that, yes, it is borderline racist and completely inappropriate. We've had others that saying, well, people are overreacting. What do you say? 257-5396. Let's go to Jack. Jack, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you make of this?
Hey, what's up, Jack?
Oh, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I think that the word racism is just being overplayed in society today. It's like the go-to word when somebody doesn't agree with something. I don't think that anybody is taking away Lamar Jackson's ability. Part of being a quarterback is, I watched the Packers game this last weekend. The announcer said that Aaron Rodgers is one of the best at ball handling.
He is the best at hiding the ball.
He hides the ball. So I don't think there was any malice. There was nothing. There was no racism intended.
Okay, let me ask you something then, Jack. We might disagree on this, but when you talk about the color of one's skin, please explain to me how that is not taking something away from their ability. Why won't you talk about how fast he is?
Yeah, because racism is hate. He wasn't hating on him. He was saying he was able to hide the ball better because of the contrast. I don't believe a professional football player, as Tim Ryan, he's retired, correct? He was a football player, could be racist. He was the minority in that locker room.
Okay, let me pull back on what you said. So you said you think racism is hate. I would say in all circumstances, racism is not hate. It just could be pure ignorance.
Well,
I think
look it up. It's when it's the. Please forgive me because I'm paraphrasing. It's when you feel above the race, when you look down on the race.
If you treat somebody different based on the color of their skin, absolutely. And I believe this is a case of that. If Lamar Jackson was white, or this comment would not have been made. Here's the point I'm trying to get at, Jack. And I understand what you're saying, but the point I'm trying to get at is this. Tim Ryan could have spoken about 50 or 60 qualities, positive qualities that Lamar Jackson had. Could have been about his athleticism. Could have been about how smart the kid is, how much he pays attention to detail, his arm, his throwing arm. It could have been a number of different things. So what does Tim Ryan decide to do? He decides to talk about the color of Lamar Jackson's skin. I believe, Jack.
The problem is he went there first.
Jack, I believe that is an ignorant comment, and I believe people that's
ignorant, but it wasn't meant as hate or race. It was one aspect of Lamar Jackson's game. The guy's an absolute stud. I mean, we don't have to say his running ability, his throwing ability, his read.
Well, that's what Tim Ryan's job is to do. His job is
the ball was because he has a dark uniform, and maybe his large, his hand is able to obscure the ball better than if he had.
But he wasn't talking. But he wasn't talking about his uniform. You know what he was talking about? The color of his skin.
He mentioned all three things. The problem is he could have said, here's 7 reasons why, and this was the 7th reason. But he basically based it all on that one reason.
Jack,
and he should know better. That's the issue. Now, am I a fan of people losing their livelihoods for offending someone else? No. But in a situation like this, it's kind of difficult.
Well, we've had these conversations before about livelihood. Yes, I do believe someone should be fired from a job if they say something racist. I do believe somebody should be fired from a job if they say something maybe more egregious than this. Now, he decided to bring up the color of Lamar Jackson's skin, completely irrelevant to the conversation.
And I will say this, if it was a Caucasian player, there would be no camouflage effect.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to defend his comments. And you know what? I'm not going to sit here and say if Lamar Jackson was light-skinned or white that he wouldn't be able to run the football as well, because we don't know that. There's no studies that are put in place that to say because Lamar Jackson is black, he runs the ball better. I think it's a ridiculous comment. There's no evidence to back that up. And you know what? There are plenty of white quarterbacks and there are plenty of white football players that are also very good at hiding the football, and they happen to be whiter than me, which is almost impossible. So, this nonsense. I'm sorry, I disagree with you, JD, and I disagree with that last caller. This was an uncalled for comment. It shouldn't have happened. He deserves to be suspended, and I guarantee you.
I would say this: if you looked up the NFL stats,
can I just finish what I was going to say?
Sure.
I guarantee you that he will never do it again.
Okay, probably not. But if you looked up the NFL stats for the top 10 of rushing quarterbacks, probably 8 out of 10 will be African American.
Absolutely. But that doesn't mean
so that actually just statistically it's more an African American quarterback is more likely going to be better at running the ball than a Caucasian quarterback, especially in the NFL.
Then why are there not African Americans that play hockey then? And then look at all the African Americans that play basketball. I don't like talking about this stuff because to me it's irrelevant. Okay, it's irrelevant. If you want to talk about,
it just comes down to skill set.
Disagree with you. In hockey, the reason why not many African Americans are NHL players has nothing to do with skill and has everything to do with the fact it's a sport where you need money. Okay, basketball, you can walk on, and we got to go. But basketball, you can just walk on a court. Anybody can shoot hoops. Hockey is an elitist sport. So is tennis, and so is golf. All right, with that, we got to go. Wow. Did that hour go by fast? Holy smokes. I feel like I'm just looking at my clock. We're just starting.
That flew by.
That did. Thanks for joining us, everybody. The website is thevegastake.com. Our YouTube page, The Vegas Take, as well. Check it out, man. Tomorrow we are going to have a fun-filled, packed show, and Caleb Herring will be joining us in studio. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
So what would you do with an extra $500 a month in your budget? $500. This isn't hypothetical, by the way. This is something you may need to think about very soon if you decide to become a member